Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Pirates. I can transform into Marvel characters. Chapter 21. How can that be? The places he mentioned are quite far away, and he wants to gather all these things. What kind of exaggerated speed is that? Among the vice admirals, there is a person who can use the speed of light to move. It seems to be the Flash man who ate the Flash fruit. Could it be that the senior who rescued us from the City of Advancement is also a similar fruit ability user? What Ling Fan said aroused doubts from a group of pirates. Some people believed Ling Fan, and some didn't believe it, but it didn't make much sense whether they believed it or not. At this moment, the ultimate thing for Ling Fan is to defeat the Red Earl in front of him. I don't believe that your speed is so fast. Look at the sword. The Red Earl didn't hold back anything this time, and used his fastest speed. Just hearing the sound of Sue, the Red Earl almost teleported to Ling Fan's side, and at the same time waved the umbrella in his hand, attacking Ling Fan. The Red Earl stared at Ling Fan steadfastly, with a domineering look, catching Ling Fan's every move. This time, the Red Earl was sure that his umbrella was definitely about to hit. However, at this moment, a miraculous scene happened again. The own weapon in the hands of the Red Earl, the umbrella sword, turned into a frozen hairtail at this moment, and the weapon of the Red Earl was taken by Ling Fan. As for Ling Fan, he lay down on the reclining chair just now again. This time, Ling Fan didn't read the newspaper and bask in the sun, but held a glass of juice in his hand. How is it possible? Ling Fan once again subverted the Red Earl's cognition, and Ling Fan's speed was simply too fast. The surrounding pirates also showed surprised expressions again. In their eyes, Ling Fan appeared on the recliner with a whoosh, but he did a lot of things when he arrived at Ling Fan. Ling Fan first used his supersonic speed to go to the kitchen, and then took out the frozen hairtail from the kitchen. Then, when the Red Earl picked up the umbrella to attack him, he took the umbrella away and replaced the hairtail. Afterwards, he made a mojito. Then he returned to the recliner. Red Earl, do you know how powerful I am now? If you don't know how powerful I am, next time, I will launch an attack. Ling Fan said. No one can threaten the Red Earl yet. How can I say that the Red Earl is one of the most powerful men in the sea? Even if the current Admiral Steelbone Kong appears, he may not be the Red Earl's opponent. HMPH. Fight me if you have the ability. Otherwise, what's the point? Let's fight with all your strength. After the Red Earl finished speaking, he also entered a serious state. He released his knowledge color outwards from his whole body, and the domineering color of knowledge was like a radar, sending everything around to the Red Earl. In addition to the eruption of knowledge, the Red Earl and other strong people naturally also erupted with a huge domineering aura. This monstrous aura is very powerful and soon suppressed Ling Fan. My God, there is such a powerful domineering look in the pirate world. This is the first time I have seen it. The Red Earl's domineering look is so strong. What about the others? Ling Fan also knew how powerful the Red Earl is. The Golden Lion Shiji and the World Destroyer Bondi Valdo also continued to urge the warships to evacuate under pressure. Then the Red Earl moved. He rushed towards Ling Fan with a more terrifying speed, and Ling Fan's speed was even faster. The supersonic speed made Ling Fan once again have the absolute upper hand in speed. Kuayin is very strong in speed, but does not have a strong output, so Ling Fan immediately said to the Divine Plan in order not to waste time. Holy Plan, is it possible to integrate other heroes into Kuayin's body? Ling Fan asked. Because the system has not been upgraded yet, currently only up to 3 heroes can be integrated. Divine Plan replied. In this case, then I will fuse Wolverine and Captain America. Ling Fan said. No problem. The super transformation form was activated again, and the shield of Captain America immediately appeared on Ling Fan's back, and the adamantium alloy claws burst out from both hands. When the time frame was over, Ling Fan quickly used the exaggerated speed of his Quicksilver, and then used the Wolverine alloy claws in his hand to quickly grab the Red Earl. Since Ling Fan's speed is far faster than that of the Red Earl, even if his purpose is guessed by the Red Earl using his knowledge, the Red Earl still has no way to stop Ling Fan's movements. Kung Fu in the world is only fast. Ling Fan did not intend to kill the Red Earl, so the attack in his hand was not fatal. The Red Earl here, just as soon as he made a move, he found that his back was in burning pain and seemed to be bleeding. When the Red Earl turned around, he saw the blood on Ling Fan's alloy claws. Boom! The Red Earl fell to the ground. Although he couldn't believe it at all, the fact is that he was killed by Ling Fan extremely quickly. The other pirates around were stunned. No matter how strong they couldn't be the opponents of the Red Earl and Barrett. But now that the two masters have been killed, they naturally made a choice immediately. My lord, we only follow your lead. Yes, you say what you say. We are just some little pirates, just be your subordinates. Everyone looked at Ling Fan with respect, and Ling Fan was naturally very satisfied. With power, he was naturally respected by the pirates. What about you, Red Earl? Ling Fan asked. You wanted to kill me just now, and you should be able to do it. Since you have kept your promise and defeated me, then I will not go back on my word. That's good. The first thing is that you have to teach me all your skills. The second thing is that you do whatever I ask you to do. The third thing is that I haven't figured it out yet. Let's talk about it later. How about it? I'm willing to bet and admit defeat, I promise you. The Red Earl agreed to Ling Fan, and Ling Fan naturally had a very powerful help. Golden Lion Shiji said, Senior, since you are so strong, we are all willing to accept your command, why don't we give our organization a more aggressive name? Ling Fan nodded and felt that this move was very appropriate. This organization was established by Ling Fan, so if this organization completed a major event, it would naturally be counted on Ling Fan's head. At that time, there will be more opportunities to transform. Ling Fan then said, Of course. So do you have any suggestions? Everyone mentioned the names of various organizations, and Ling Fan finally thought of a good name. Let's call it the Avengers. Our purpose is to overthrow the Navy and the world government ruled by the Tianlong people. The Avengers. That's a good name. Very good. The name of this alliance sounds very powerful. Golden Lion and others finally expressed their agreement. Then Ling Fan thought of a bigger plan. Mr. Golden Lion, where are we now? Ling Fan asked. It's far away from the city of Advance, and the Navy can't catch up with us at our current speed. Golden Lion replied. Today, the establishment of our Avengers Alliance should be a memorable moment. I thought about it and decided to make a big event. To commemorate the establishment of our Avengers Alliance. Event, isn't it a big deal to escape from the city? For everyone, it is enough to be proud of being able to escape the impregnated city of impregnable walls. In the original book, the Golden Lion also paid the price of 2 legs to escape successfully. Now, if there is no Ling Fan, the Golden Lion cannot be as safe and sound as it is now. Ling Fan then replied, It's nothing to escape from the city of Advance. We haven't caused any substantial damage to the Navy and the world government. Escaping from Propulsion City is just a blow to the arrogance of the Navy and world conquest, but in order to prove our existence to the entire sea, we need to complete another earth-shattering event. This time, we will not only slap the Navy and the world government in the face, but also defeat them. Let them know how powerful our Avengers are. Ling Fan said. The pirates were soon overwhelmed by Ling Fan's words, and they wanted to start working immediately so as to contribute to the alliance. So, what should we do? Where should we target? Golden Lion and other pirates asked. Since we are near the city of advancement, we should be able to enter the Gate of Justice and ride on the Navy's triangular current, so that we can quickly enter Judicial Island. Ling Fan said. Judicial Island. Is your target Judicial Island? We have already left. Now we want to go back. Isn't that hitting the Navy's guns? After all, we are far away from there. Wouldn't it be good to go back now? Besides, the Navy will definitely not easily open the door of justice for us. Golden Lion said. Ling Fan naturally smiled, and then immediately said, Of course the Navy will not open the door of justice for us, but they would never have thought that we would return here after we left. We just need to mix into the Navy and return secretly. Ling Fan said so. The Golden Lion naturally has no choice but to urge his own fluttering fruit, turn the bow of the ship, and use the compass system on the warship to return. Needless to say, after Ling Fan ordered the warship to return, he secretly drove the warship into the Navy. At this time, the Navy warships were all scattered, as if they were on guard, so there was an extra Navy warship in the sea, which would not attract much attention. That's good, we just need to see which warship is going to Judiciary Island, and follow it. Ling Fan said. None of the pirates expected that things would go so smoothly. Soon, Because the warship lost Ling Fan and other pirates, the search was fruitless, so they had to drive the warship and set off for the Gate of Justice. Now, we are going with the Navy warship. After Ling Fan finished speaking, the warship immediately followed a warship and entered the huge Gate of Justice. As soon as the door of the Gate of Justice was opened, it was obvious that the sea current entered here, and then the warship was quickly pushed up. The Triangle Current is a special fast channel for the Navy and the world government, allowing the Navy's warships to travel quickly between the advancing city, Judiciary Island, and Marlin. Because of the triangular current, the warship arrived at Marlin very quickly. However, everyone did not stop the warship, but immediately let the world destroyer, Bondivaldo, stimulate Momo Fruit, and the entire warship rushed in the direction of another current. That warship, what's going on? Why didn't it stop? Is Judicial Island over there? What do these guys want to do? Not good. Could it be the enemy? When the Navy found out that something was wrong, the warships of Ling Fan and others rushed out with lightning speed and headed towards Judicial Island. Quick, quick, use shelling, surround them. That's the enemy. It seems to be the fugitive from the city. The Navy headquarters immediately sounded the alarm. Admiral Zepha was alarmed, the sky was full of shells, and the target of their attack was naturally Ling Fan's warship. Taking advantage of the ocean current heading to Judiciary Island and the addition of Momo Fruit, the speed of the warship has already far exceeded the normal speed. Even if there were a few shells, they were quickly dealt with by Ling Fan and Golden Lion. The warship finally escaped easily, leaving the Navy far behind. Ha! It's really enjoyable. We are really about to arrive at Judicial Island. Senior, is our plan to destroy Judicial Island? Golden Lion and others asked. Yes, we not only want to destroy Judicial Island, but also attack the Navy that came to support us on Judicial Island. And declare war on the world government and the Navy. We want to leave the name of our alliance. Let the Navy and the world government fear us. Ling Fan also said firmly. After a while, the warship finally arrived near Judicial Island, but the door in front of them was tightly closed. This door is naturally the door of justice. If it is not opened, it is impossible for everyone to reach Judicial Island. The gate is closed. What should I do? Yes, if this continues, the Navy will catch up. Ling Fan waved his hands and said, "Be safe and don't be impatient." Then Ling Fan transformed again. Activate the super transformation form. This time, superimpose Human Torch, Wolverine and Captain America, and the image will be Wolverine. After Ling Fan finished speaking, the same 5 rays of light enveloped his whole body. Soon, Ling Fan's transformation was completed. His hair became Logan's exclusive hair, his top became a leather jacket, and his lower body was jeans. My lord, what do you want? The Golden Lion was very surprised. Ling Fan in front of him transformed again, and everyone more or less understood Ling Fan's ability. I'm going to open the door of justice. Ling Fan said confidently. Open. How do you open the door of justice? Could you discuss it with the Navy? The gate of justice seems to be made of Halu stone. It is not so easy to destroy, and it is so big and high. Even if it is bombarded with shells for 3 days and 3 nights, it may not be able to destroy it. There were also a lot of questioning voices from the pirates around, and Ling Fan immediately said, "Don't worry, with me here, I will open your eyes." After Ling Fan finished speaking, his whole body was on fire immediately, and then he rushed towards the door of justice. Blame man, is this the burning fruit? This senior seems to have many different fruits. So powerful. Amid the exclamation, Ling Fan had already come to the gate of justice. At this time, Ling Fan was suspended in the air, crash, and the Edelman alloy claws of both hands stretched out like this. Ling Fan controlled his body and flew to the top of the gate of justice, and then, Ka! Embedded his claws into the gate of justice. Then Ling Fan yelled, Ha! The whole body fell down slowly, but amazing sparks shot out from his hands. Soon an extremely long crack was drawn out by Ling Fan. My God, could it be that Senior really wants to rely on his own power to give the door of justice to you? Senior is too scary. The hardest thing in the world is like tofu in front of his claws. Under the exclamation of the pirates, Ling Fan flew to the top of the gate of justice again. Since the gate of justice was relatively thick, Ling Fan rubbed his claws and swiped down again. This has been repeated for about 5 or 6 times, and countless moral gaps have appeared on the surface of the entire gate of justice. Now, it's interesting. Ling Fan then flew back, pulling the distance between himself and the Gate of Justice, and then pulled back with one hand, and then Ling Fan's body was once again burning with flames. That's right, Ling Fan ignited Johnny's flames all over his body at this time, raised the power of the flames to the maximum, and then punched the door of justice with all his strength. Boom, boom, Ling Fan's fist of flames flourished, and the entire Gate of Justice was immediately covered in flames. The surface of the Gate of Justice was burned by Ling Fan's flames, and finally a big hole was slowly dissolved in front of it. Immediately afterwards, Ling Fan used his claws to grab left and right again, and the big hole was completely penetrated, and the ocean currents from outside rushed in quickly. Ling Fan's, boom, kicked the door of justice, which was already horrible, and the door of justice, which represented the justice of the Navy, just fell down. Crash! The Gate of Justice fell, splashing a lot of water. After the Gate of Justice was destroyed, the surrounding ocean currents immediately became chaotic. Ling Fan immediately flew back to the warship and ordered the Golden Lion to float the warship. After the warship floated up, Valdo used the Momo fruit to let the warship quickly enter the area of Judicial Island. Since it appeared from the Gate of Justice, the highest judicial island, the Tower of Judiciary, was directly exposed to everyone. Who are you? Get out of here. This is Judicial Island. It represents the world government. Get out of here now. The Navy on Judiciary Island found out that the warship was moving strangely, and immediately shouted loudly that they were holding rifles in their hands, and pointed at Ling Fan and the others one after another. No, how did they come out of the Gate of Justice? Yeah, we haven't opened the door of justice at all. Could it be that they can't fly? My God, look, the Gate of Justice has disappeared. These guys actually destroyed the Gate of Justice. The collapse of the Gate of Justice is a matter of destroying the three views. It is the exclusive fast track for the world government and the Navy. If the Gate of Justice is destroyed, this route will be invalidated, unless the Gate of Justice is re-established. Hurry up and report to the Navy headquarters. By the way, tell the world government what's going on now. These guys are definitely the prisoners who escaped from Fujin City. The naval officer also began to direct the battle with a very nervous and heavy heart. Ling Fan and others docked and stopped the boat. Shoot! The naval officer naturally ordered directly and started shooting. Pala pala pala. Ling Fan held the US team shield in his hand and blocked him on his upper body. Countless bullets were blocked by the shield. After a round of shooting, while the Navy was reloading, Ling Fan immediately aimed at the surrounding towers, and threw the shield in his hand with a swoosh. The Navy on the Judiciary Tower was shooting at Ling Fan and the others, when suddenly a shield flew towards them in an arc. Boom, boom, boom. The captain's shield has been designed so that it can easily throw this kind of arc. With a perfect arc, Ling Fan exploded 3 naval towers in an instant. Come on. Many navies came from the main entrance of the island to the back of the Tower of Justice. They all wanted to stop Ling Fan desperately. After all, this is the place where the world government and the Navy uphold justice. Although this justice has a lot of water, it still represents the face of the Navy and the world government. Do everything. Block them too. The support from the Navy headquarters will arrive soon, said a Navy general, and then the momentum of the entire Navy once again flourished. Facing the crazy Navy, Ling Fan didn't have any fear, and the Golden Lion cut out a series of sword auras. Chop! Golden Lion, as a master of swordsmanship, immediately sent a group of Marines flying with the sword energy. Punch me! Bondavaldo also quickly attacked the Navy, and the other pirates also quickly started fighting with the Navy. Ling Fan then also rushed into the crowd, took out his shield, burst out his alloy claws, and quickly killed the Navy. Navy soldiers, no one is Ling Fan's opponent. Ling Fan is like a god of war, holding the US team's shield in one hand, throwing the shield from time to time, hitting countless Marines, tearing the enemy with his claws from time to time. The current situation is naturally one-sided. No, I can't stand it anymore. The Navy soldiers were at an absolute disadvantage, and they were all slowly beaten back and scattered. The opponents are all vicious pirates. The number of pirates who escaped from the city is already extremely terrifying. If Ling Fan hadn't robbed a super large warship, the prisoners might have no place to stay. Now they are facing the Navy who once imprisoned themselves. Revenge was really staged, and the pirates in front of them were called the Avengers. Nothing wrong with that. Although the Navy retreated steadily, suddenly a few people with fairly good strength appeared from the Navy. They were dressed in black and obviously belonged to the world government. Sorry, you can only stop here. The men in black looked very difficult to mess with. HMPH. Idiot. A pirate rushed forward and was quickly killed by the men in black. So that's it, it's the dog of the world government. The Golden Lion also squinted at the man in black in front of him. It's CP9, just a bunch of weak trash. Ling Fan didn't pay attention to the enemy in front of him at all. After saying this, it was obvious that an angry look appeared on the other party's face. Then let's see the true chapter. I will let you know what hell is. I'll let you know what a father is. After Ling Fan finished speaking, he directly used his fire fist, and countless fire fists aimed at the group of men in black, and the man in black immediately shouted, "Shave! Finger gun! Land feet!" As senior agents directly under the world government, they have used the sixth form of the Navy one after another. Even in the Navy, the sixth form is an existence that only a few people are qualified to learn and can master. Facing Lan's feet and pointing guns, Ling Fan showed a trace of disdain. Bang! Ling Fan blocked Lan's feet with a shield, and his other hand quickly locked the enemy's wrist like a pair of pliers. How is it possible? With shave, ordinary people simply cannot keep up with our speed. Faced with CP9's questioning, Ling Fan just smiled and said nothing, then punched the CP9 he had caught and knocked him unconscious. Golden Lion Shiji also planned to help, but Ling Fan immediately waved his hand to stop Golden Lion Shiji from wanting to help him. Leave them to me to deal with. If you continue to push in, you will definitely destroy Judiciary Island. All the Navy, if you are willing to surrender, you will accept it. Those who are not willing to surrender will be killed without mercy. Ling Fan ordered. CP9 and others on the opposite side naturally heard what Ling Fan said, and expressed their anger. HMPH. You underestimate us, don't you? How can we say that he is also a master of the six forms? Ling Fan's disdain became even stronger. Let's go together. I will not fight against the trash whose strength is below the Lieutenant General of the headquarters. This group of CP9 members was obviously so angry that they didn't care so much. They all rushed towards Ling Fan. Some of them were still moving in the air. Ling Fan knew that he used the moon step. Except, Ling Fan threw out his shield, flames burst out of his body, and then the Edelman metal claws in his hand stretched out again. The beast's senses were mixed with Captain America's Superman-like perception. CP9 was fast, but he couldn't escape Ling Fan's perception. Iron block, finger gun, land feet. Numerous attacks attacked Ling Fan in this way. Ling Fan's shield first knocked an enemy into the air, and then Ling Fan directly chose to bear all the attacks. The metal claws in his hand also submerged into the bodies of 3 or 4 CP9s one after another. How could it be that I used iron blocks? It's so strong. It can even break through iron blocks. It turns out to be an injury for an injury. Ling Fan's fighting style is very magical. On the one hand, he is as tough as a warrior, and on the other hand, he is like a wild beast, unrestrained. Ling Fan directly killed several six-style masters at the cost of his own injury. Immediately afterwards, Ling Fan once again demonstrated his invincible self-healing ability. Because the super soldier's serum also exists in Captain America's body, after the superposition of the two heroes, the self-healing effect of the two powerful cells becoming one became more obvious. Ling Fan recovered immediately after being injured by the finger gun and Lanjiao. At this time, Ling Fan was almost immortal, so exchanging injuries for injuries was naturally a very cost-effective thing. Do you want to continue? Ling Fan's ability has directly wiped away the confidence of CP9 and others. They can only disappear in place as if their feet were oiled. Ling Fan didn't bother chasing them at all. After all, they were just a group of humble weaklings. And Ling Fan arrived on Judicial Island with a purpose, that is to destroy Judicial Island. Leave the name of yourself and the Avengers. After defeating CP9 and others, the entire Judiciary Island no longer has any serious opponents. Countless pirates flocked to the Judicial Tower, swept away the spoils inside, and then rushed towards the court and the main entrance of Judicial Island like locusts. Afterwards, Ling Fan burst out his own flame with all his strength, and quickly bombarded the Judicial Tower, not to mention the flag of the Judiciary Tower that symbolized the world government. The entire Judicial Tower was completely sunk by Ling Fan with a bang. Then, everyone left the Tower of Justice and rushed to the court. The court of the world government basically had no effect. They brought those people here for trial in order to show off. They could kill them by inserting a crime at will, or take them to the city of advancement. It can be said that it represents justice, and it is indeed the darkest place. Destroy this place. Golden Lion, I leave it to you. After Ling Fan finished speaking, the Golden Lion said, "The lion is majestic." Then the surrounding ground began to surge in an instant, and the ground of the entire court was completely lifted by the Golden Lion with a bang, condensing into a lion head, and then began to destroy the court. After going back and forth like this, the entire court was completely destroyed, and half of the Ennies Hall, which represented the justice of the Navy, was destroyed in this way. In addition to the Tower of Justice and the court, the only remaining buildings on Judicial Island are the dormitories of the surrounding Navy and the main entrance of Judicial Island. Those Marines fled to death, and there were many who directly chose to join Ling Fan's group. Ling Fan did not refuse. Whether these pirates or the Navy, they will be trained by themselves to become real Alliance members in the future. With us here, don't even think about destroying Judicial Island. Just as Ling Fan was trying to destroy the main entrance of Judicial Island, two giants blocked Ling Fan. "It's you." Ling Fan naturally recognized the two, but forgot the other's name. "You recognize us. Sorry, you can't destroy the main entrance. Because the two of us will block you." The Golden Lion was about to kill the two in seconds, but Ling Fan immediately stopped him. "Do you know the green ghost Dongli and the red ghost Brokey?" Ling Fan asked. Of course we know each other. He is our leader." The two giants naturally asked excitedly, "How do you know them?" Ling Fan immediately said, "Of course. They are in the Great Channel. You were deceived by the Navy. They let you guard the gate for them for 100 years for nothing." "Oh my God, you are not lying to us, are you?" asked the two giants. "Of course not. Aren't the blue ghosts and the red ghosts both part of the giant soldier pirate group? We will also become a pirate group. We are more reliable than the Navy, right? They have lied to you for so long. And the green ghost and the red ghost, at this time, they have been fighting in the small garden in order to become real Elbaf warriors. If you want, I can take you to find them. As long as you don't stop us." After Ling Fan finished speaking, the two giants were naturally quite excited. "By the way, what are your names?" Ling Fan really forgot their names. "My name is Casey." "My name is Oimo, what about you?" "My name is Ling Fan." Ling Fan naturally took the initiative to admit his identity, and now everyone knows that those strong men are all Ling Fan. "The Navy, the world government, how dare you lie to us? You don't need Master Ling Fan. We will destroy Judicial Island with our own hands." Casey and Oimo are worthy of being giants. One swung a sledgehammer. One swung a giant axe. Both smashed at the main entrance. Boom! All the buildings on Judicial Island were destroyed. The giants are very popular. After they joined Zero Fan, many navies also joined Zero Fan. Many people knew the despicableness of the Navy and the world government, and they all joined Zero Fan's camp in order to survive. Ling Fan's trip was full of rewards. Ling Fan not only completely destroyed Judicial Island, declared war on the Navy and the world government, but also gained a lot of Navy, and the number of Ling Fan's Avengers has increased a lot again. Holy plan. Hello, I have completely destroyed Judiciary Island. Are there any new heroes for me to choose from? The divine plan said. Wait a minute, the identification is in progress. The identification is complete. Host. Hello, I have identified that you destroyed Judicial Island. Judicial Island is a very important island where the world government conducts judicial activities. If you destroy it, there will be a great shock in the sea. After identification, this event is of a major event level. Therefore, I will provide you with a chance to randomly select a hero. This time, there will also be 3 heroes randomly selected for you. Hero 1, Dark Phoenix. Hero 2, Venom Symbiont. Hero 3, Hulk. Hearing the 3 heroes mentioned by the divine plan, Ling Fan was naturally extremely excited, not to mention Dark Phoenix. Even Professor X and Magneto were no match for her second personality. Venom is a thoughtful alien life form. If the object of parasitism is a good person, it will make the host a great hero. If the object of the host is a bad person, it will make it a supervillain. However, because it is a symbiosis. It is estimated that the transformation into venom must superimpose a hero. As for Hulk, not to mention, his strength is definitely far superior to that of giants. Super regeneration ability, super defense ability, super attack ability. There are 3 kinds of transformed heroes. No matter what they become, Ling Fan will be extremely happy. Then start random drawing, Ling Fan said directly to the divine plan. Okay, start drawing. Congratulations to the host. Congratulations, you have won the Hulk. Sacred Plan then said, would you like to transform into the Hulk immediately? Or I suggest that you choose the Hulk alone instead of fusing with other heroes, so as to experience the Hulk's ability. No problem. Activate the super transformation form. Transform Hulk. After Ling Fan's voice fell, his whole body was immediately surrounded by 5 rays of light. Those leather jackets and jeans naturally completely disappeared in the white light, and a desire to destroy spontaneously came from Ling Fan's heart. Immediately afterwards, Ling Fan's original muscles became even more explosive, and his whole body began to swell, and the skin all over his body turned green. It's so strong. I can feel my surging power. Now I estimate that I can blow up the entire city of advancement with one punch. Ling Fan found that the Hulk he transformed into hadn't lost control. Don't worry, host. Naturally, I won't let you become a beast that only knows how to kill. When you transform into the Hulk, you will naturally be able to maintain your sanity. After the explanation of the divine plan, Ling Fan was naturally relieved a lot. Immediately afterwards, the gray time frame disappeared, and the surrounding pirates were startled. Huh, who are you, green guy? The one standing here just now is Master Ling Fan. Yeah, it's strange how you appeared in such an instant. Casey and Omoi, who were giants, also asked doubtfully. At this time, Ling Fan naturally admitted his identity directly. I am Ling Fan. The person just now is also me. I just used my ability to transform into a giant-like existence. Giant. Casey and Omoi were very skeptical. After all, even if Ling Fan became the Hulk, he would only be a little over 2 meters tall, but the muscles that exploded all over his body still looked very powerful. Ling Fan naturally understood the doubts of the 2 giants, and immediately said, don't underestimate me now. If you don't accept it, we can compare our strength. At this time, taking advantage of the fact that the Navy did not come after him, Ling Fan wanted to know what his strength was like, so he made this proposal. Great. Are you really Master Ling Fan? Are you sure you want to compete with us? Asked the 2 giants. Sure, don't be naughty, let's shake hands. Ling Fan said. Wrist wrestling. What do you mean? The giant asked like a fool. Although Ling Fan was very embarrassed, he still handed over the method of wrestling arms to Casey and Omoi. After the 2 learned it, they were very excited immediately. Ling Fan randomly picked a relatively complete ground, then put his elbows on the ground, and then began to wrestle with the 2 giants. The left back is in charge of Omoi, and the right hand is in charge of Casey, and not only that, Omoi and Casey also used 2 hands. Let's start. The Golden Lion took a breath and announced the start of the game. Then the 2 giants began to use their strength, but even though they exhausted all their strength, they still found that Ling Fan was motionless like a stone lion. Use some strength. You also said that you belong to the giant family. Isn't strength just like that? Come on, use all your might. Let me see how powerful the Elbaf fighters are. Ling Fan prodded again. What? The 2-meter giant shouted and used up all his strength. At this time, Ling Fan's hands changed slightly. That's right, but in terms of strength, you're still too far behind. Go down. Ha! Ling Fan yelled loudly, exerting force on his wrists, and then the 2 of them smashed their hands on the stone slab, and the slate shattered into countless pieces with a bang. My God, isn't this too scary? Complete the giant's arm strength. Who can take a punch from him? The terrible Ling Fan. Master Ling Fan seems to be able to incarnate everything. It's too strong. This wave of operations by Ling Fan immediately completely frightened the surrounding pirates again, and since then everyone has known how powerful Ling Fan is. The giant also showed an expression of surprise and fear. Master Ling Fan, your strength is really powerful. Judging from your performance just now, your strength has definitely stood at the apex of this world. Perhaps, even Elbaf's real fighters will not be your opponents in terms of strength. Who wants to compare strength with me? Ling Fan asked, sweeping around. Take it. All of us are convinced. The power displayed by Ling Fan is already like a god. At this moment, in front of the destroyed Gate of Justice, a wave of navy suddenly appeared. Depending on the situation, there were at least 15 warships. Navy. Has the Navy finally arrived? But it's too late, we have already destroyed Judiciary Island. Ling Fan looked at the warship in front of him and said, "Everyone, prepare to meet the enemy. These navies, we also want to completely wipe them out." Navy warships. What? Are you kidding me? This is Judicial Island. It's already in ruins. Judicial Island has been captured by the enemy. This is impossible. Isn't there still so many navies here? Could it be that they were all killed? I remember that there are 2 giant guards at the main gate, right? No matter how powerful the enemy is, it is impossible to destroy Judiciary Island so quickly, right? By the way, there are still people from CP9 on Judicial Island, plus them. Why don't they even have the strength to hold back the enemy? An unknown rear admiral said in surprise. HMPH. Don't underestimate the enemy. The opponents are all monsters who still have the same name in the sea. With them, the Navy will not be an opponent at all. This is all in my expectation. The speaker has gray hair on his hair. He is Garp, full name, Monkey D. Garp, the man who has driven Roger the Pirate King to the point of desperation many times. At this time, he was ordered by the Commander-in-Chief of the Navy, Steel Ji Yukong, to lead as many as 20 warships to Judiciary Island, the purpose of which was naturally to deal with the fugitives who had escaped from the advance. Admiral Zephyr and Admiral Warring States are also in Marlene at this time, riding the triangular current, leading the remaining reinforcements, and preparing to completely defeat Ling Fan and others in one fell swoop. Porisalino, your speed is relatively fast. Land on Judicial Island first, and see what may be wrong. The rest of you, land from the Judicial Tower. Garp also ordered. The rebellion in Advanced City has shocked the Navy headquarters and the world government. The 5 old stars have issued an order early on. If these prisoners cannot be caught, then the FA will be rectified on the spot. After all, these prisoners are not simply ordinary prisoners. The Navy is also very concerned about this incident. At present, almost all the troops in the Navy headquarters have been transferred to Judicial Island. The world government stated that it does not matter even if the Judicial Island is lost, as long as all the prisoners can be killed. Therefore, the Commander-in-Chief of the Navy, Steel Bone Kong, immediately dispatched the hero Garp of the Navy to lead a number of vice admirals to act as the vanguard, leading the army to attack Judicial Island, and dispatched General Zephyr and General Warring States to Judicial Island. Although Ling Fan destroyed the Gate of Justice at this time, it was only for him to pass through. The current itself always exists, so the Navy can still come to Judicial Island through the triangular current. Start the super transformation form. Fusion with Captain America. Wolverine. After Ling Fan fused with the other 2 superheroes at this time, the height of the whole person has increased again, from the original 2 meters to 3 meters. Everyone, the enemy is coming through the triangular ocean current. Then he will definitely land at the Tower of Justice. As the saying goes, the brave wins when we meet on a narrow road. Let's kill them together. Follow me. Ling Fan then controlled his huge body and rushed towards the Navy. Boom, boom. Ling Fan ran very fast. Every time he stepped hard, there would be a deep pit on the ground. Ling Fan soon arrived at the ruins of the Judicial Tower. At this time, the Navy had not yet landed, but a yellow light did suddenly flash in front of Ling Fan. It's so scary. Are you the culprit of everything? Ling Fan, what an incredible person, said a very wretched-looking man in a suit wearing sunglasses. The image of this person and what he said are very representative. Ling Fan immediately asked, "Are you the Vice Admiral, Pelusalino?" "Oh, you seem to know me. May I ask what happened on Judiciary Island?" The future Navy 3 General Huang Yuan asked directly. Ling Fan naturally hoped to wait for the arrival of the Navy to start killing, and it didn't matter to waste such time, and then said, "Judicial Island was naturally destroyed by me and my subordinates, and the reason why I didn't leave here was to wait for the arrival of your Navy, so as to completely sink your Navy's warships." Ling Fan also revealed a trace of disdain in his confidence, which made Pelusalino's expression even more surprised. "Yo, it seems that you are quite confident. However, the result this time may disappoint you, because your opponent is me." Huang Yuan asked. excuse me, have you ever been kicked by the light? Kick at the speed of light. A beam of light immediately shot out from the foot of Huang Yuan, kicking Ling Fan's huge body more than 10 meters away in an instant. Boom! Ling Fan tried his best to stabilize his body, and then slowly stood up. Ha! Pelusolino said immediately, what a hard body. It was kicked away by my speed of light kick, and it seemed like nothing happened. Originally, nothing happened. Ling Fan patted his chest. Integrating Captain America and Wolverine with Hulk's body as the core, Ling Fan's self-healing ability and resistance to attack have reached a new peak. To put it bluntly, it is resistance to beating. Although this guy Pelusolino looks calm on the surface, his heart is already surging. This guy, obviously didn't use iron blocks, or armed domineering and other defenses, but he just relied on his body to forcefully carry my light speed kick. What a strong body it takes to do it. Even the Four Emperors Kaido, it's nothing more than that. Come on, I can still stand it. Let me see the power of the natural type shining fruit. Ling Fan was very shocked, and he patted his chest again when he was not injured. Pelusolino was far less indifferent than he seemed. He put away his playful smile, and decided to try Ling Fan's defense with his own hands. Tiankongyan's sword. Huang Yuan used photons to condense into a sword, and then, with a swish, his whole body turned into a flash of light, which immediately appeared in front of Ling Fan. Ling Fan has farsightedness and super perception. Although he has a panoramic view of everything, he can't keep up with the yellow ape in terms of speed. Whoosh! Huang Yuan finally appeared, and then talked about the photon sword in his hand, and slashed towards Ling Fan. Naive. Ling Fan swung his fist, and immediately after that, 3 extremely hard alloy claws stretched out from the huge fist. That's right. Imagine this picture. A giant who was even bigger than the Hulk threw out a fist, and stretched out an Edelman metal claw that was longer than the original. Immediately frightened the yellow ape. Clang! The photonized Tiankongyan sword was interrupted so directly. Whoosh! Ling Fan's claws pierced through Huang Yuan's body in an instant. Of course, Huang Yuan immediately turned into an element and avoided Ling Fan's attack. When Huang Yuan reappeared, he had already distanced himself from Ling Fan. What's the matter with this guy? He can't keep up with my speed, but he can react immediately when I appear. This guy doesn't seem to be domineering. But how did he predict my movements? Huang Yuan was also puzzled. Ling Fan also discovered a fatal weakness of the yellow ape. That is, the yellow ape is not a flash man in the true sense, he can only move at the speed of light to a certain extent, and use light to attack. When materializing, although the speed of the body is still fast, it is enough for Ling Fan to react. After all, Ling Fan has the intuition of a beast. Yataka mirror. Huang Yuan then gathered a ball of light in his hand, then formed a path of light, bounced around, and then rushed towards Ling Fan quickly through the path of light. Possess a super strong ability to resist blows. Then I will shoot your head with a laser. See if you are still safe and sound. Huang Yuan thought. Laser. As he rushed towards Ling Fan, he shot a laser from his finger. The speed of this laser is very fast, and it seems to be able to penetrate everything. Although Huang Yuan's speed is very fast, Ling Fan's reaction speed is not slow, and immediately took out the huge shield on his back. Because of the fusion of heroes, the Edelman's shield at this time was enlarged in the same proportion. Ling Fan raised the shield in his hand and blocked it in front of him. It was too late to say it. Huang Yuan's laser just hit Ling Fan's shield. Squeeze. The laser did not disappear instantly, but continued to shoot at the shield in Ling Fan's hand. What? It can resist my laser. Helushi's shield. Huang Yuan was startled, but he didn't stop the laser in his hand. The laser continued to be emitted continuously, and Ling Fan still blocked it with a shield, but his body slowly moved backwards. Since the impact force of the yellow ape laser was also very huge, Ling Fan not only had to bear the laser but also the strength. Boom! Ling Fan couldn't give up because of this. As soon as he exerted force, a big hole was stepped on the ground, and he quickly took down the impact force of the laser. Ling Fan's hand was also very painful from being roasted, but there was no other way. Huang Yuan's flash laser was already an energy attack, and there was no other way except to carry it hard. But the yellow ape on the opposite side was very surprised. What kind of shield is this? It's not Helu stone. This metal can resist my laser for so long. And this guy's strength can resist the impact of my laser light. It's really amazing. Huang Yuan praised. The laser light is not continuously released, and the continuous release of this trick is also quite powerful for the loss of Huang Yuan itself. Under Ling Fan's hard work, Huang Yuan had no choice but to put away his laser in the end. Porosalino, aren't you the most proud of your speed? I'll show you what speed is. After Ling Fan finished speaking, he immediately shouted at his divine plan, activate the super transformation form. Fusion with Quicksilver, Thunderbolt, Hulk. After Ling Fan's voice fell, 5 rays of light filled Ling Fan's body, and Ling Fan's appearance did not change much, but it was obvious that Ling Fan had successfully integrated the Kuai-He Galaxy Thunderbolt. There is no change. The body has become smaller instead. What's the matter? Huang Yuan didn't quite understand Ling Fan's meaning. Next, it's a competition of speed. After Ling Fan finished speaking, he disappeared with a whoosh, and Huang Yuan's pupils shrank immediately, as if he had noticed something with his knowledgeable domineering. However, the yellow ape is basically Ling Fan's speed, and everything around him seems to be frozen. Ling Fan immediately rushed to the yellow ape. Because of the fusion of Thunderbolt, Ling Fan can not only fly, and it can move at high speed. Flying to Huang Yuan's side at the fastest speed, Ling Fan clenched his fist tightly, and his giant green hand was directly wrapped in flames. Immediately afterwards, boom, Ling Fan hit Huang Yuan in the jaw with a punch and sent Huang Yuan flying. The scene that Huang Yuan saw here was that Ling Fan disappeared with a whoosh, and before Huang Yuan made any movements, he was already flying in the air like a cannonball. A pain that was so great that it would tear his whole body was conveyed from his chin, and then Huang Yuan saw Ling Fan who was burning all over his body again, and Huang Yuan instantly understood what Ling Fan said. This guy's speed has reached the speed of sound, even surpassed the speed of sound. The most important thing is that he can always use the speed of sound to fight me. Huang Yuan immediately turned into an element without saying a word, and then felt that at least 100 attacks penetrated his body. At this time, Huang Yuan didn't dare to materialize at all. After all, Ling Fan in front of him was too scary. Ha! What's the matter? Lieutenant General of the headquarters, Pelusalino. As a shining man of the natural type Shining Fruit, you should not be afraid of my speed, right? Ling Fan also smiled contemptuously and said ironically. Who the hell are you? Not only do you have such a huge power, you also have a terrifying ability to resist attacks, and that strange shield. You can also grow claws, and you have the ability to control flames. The most important thing is that your speed is so fast. In the sea, there is no such thing as you at all. Who are you? Pelusalino was also dignified and serious like never before. Don't you know, my name is Ling Fan, and I am a shapeshifter who can transform into various heroes. At this time, Ling Fan is no longer afraid of the Navy and the world government, so he revealed his ability in a very high-profile way. Transformation fruit. I've never heard of this. Natural or superhuman sounds like superhuman. As the Vice Admiral of the Navy headquarters, Pelusalino had seen the Devil Fruit illustrated book in order to deal with those pirates with the ability of strange fruits, but he had never heard of this transformation fruit. Are you planning to be a tortoise? Ling Fan punched a few times, piercing Pelusalino again, indicating that Pelusalino is still in an elemental state. Ling Fan, you are indeed very strong, but you are not domineering. And as far as I know, the stronger the ability, the greater the consumption. You must be limited in this move. Admiral Ma Shan will arrive. No matter how strong you are, under the siege of the Navy, you will never escape. Pelusalino said firmly. Are you going to run away? Really, if you are domineering, you will die here today. Ling Fan is very helpless. Even if he can defeat the yellow ape, he can't really hurt the yellow ape. After all, Ling Fan can't be armed. Huang Yuan used the 8-foot mirror to retreat tens of meters. At the same time, the Navy had already landed on Judiciary Island, and his pirate men behind him also came to the scene one after another. Looks like it's going to be another tough battle. Ling Fan had never seen so many navies before, and even the Demon Slaughter Order paled in comparison. Compared with the military strength of the Navy, the prisoners under Ling Fan's hands seemed a little pitiful. Master Ling Fan, there is also a trace of sweat on the Golden Lion's forehead. Ha! Ling Fan looked at the Golden Lion. We made a lot of trouble this time. The Navy and the world government should deliberately want to destroy us. 20 large Navy warships, tens of thousands of Marines, dozens of rear admirals, at least 10 lieutenant generals of the Navy headquarters. There are also several admirals. It seems that all the forces that the Navy headquarters can mobilize have been transferred to Judicial Island. After the Golden Lion finished speaking, Ling Fan was also very serious and serious. This time the Navy plans to be serious. What should we do now? World Destroyer Bondi Waldo also asked. Barrett, the heir to the power of ghosts, is still in a coma due to serious injuries, and he must not be able to help if he wants to help. This time, Ling Fan looked at the Red Earl. 3 things. The second thing is to do whatever you ask me to do. If you need my help, I will do one. How about it? The Red Earl asked. Ling Fan thought for a while. It's not for nothing. Why save this opportunity? Okay. This time, you will work together with us. Reject the Navy. Ling Fan looked at himself after finishing speaking. Bondivaldo the Eater of Worlds, Shiki the Golden Lion, Redfield the Red Earl, and of course Barrett who has fallen into a coma. Although the rest of the pirates are equally strong, they are much weaker than the legendary pirates above, but it is strange that there are no members of the Blackbeard pirates in our pirate camp, which makes Ling Fan very strange. Excluding the prisoners who were killed by the enemy halfway, Ling Fan brought out a total of more than 1,000 pirates. The number of pirates is slightly superior. There are about 2 people on 1 enemy warship, and people on 20 ships. These 2 people are different from Ling Fan's 3 people. They are all armed with rifles and well trained. However, among the 2 prisoners, people or pirates above the 3rd floor underground. The proportion of the 5th and 6th underground floors is naturally the smallest. Destroy the pirates. Not one left. A voice suddenly came from the Navy, and then the Navy began to shoot. The pirates also shot back immediately. After all, the Navy was still rushing to land on the beach, and the pirates were waiting for work, so they were naturally at an advantage from a strategic point of view. The soldiers on both sides shot at each other for a while, and the generals began to appear on the stage. 5 generals including Huo Shaoshan, Ghost Spider, Flying Squirrel, Doberman, and Storyberry all appeared on the stage. They immediately rushed into the pirates alone and started massacring the pirates. Chopping. Lion Mighty Scroll. The Golden Lion advanced into the city and escaped without losing his feet, and he was still relatively young. It can be said that he is currently the Golden Lion at his peak. The Golden Lion alone blocked the 5 lieutenant generals of the Navy headquarters. Although it was a little difficult, but because Piao Piao Guo's ability itself was a group attack, no one was at a disadvantage. Golden Lion, your opponent is me. The naval hero Garp was also about to make a move, but at this moment, a red figure immediately blocked Garp. You are Lonely Red, Redfield. After a long time, Garp had forgotten who was imprisoned in the city, but when he saw this person in front of him, Garp's heart tightened. The person in front of him was the one who singled out the Admiral's steel bones and won in the end. If Garp hadn't taken advantage of the weakness of the Red Earl, how could he have taken him into custody? This is troublesome. Although Garp is a naval hero, he knows how difficult the person in front of him is. Garp, it's been a long time. You won't be my opponent. The Red Earl smiled evilly, and immediately attacked with his bat umbrella. Garp reacted immediately, covering his hands with armed domineering, resisting the Red Earl's move. Unexpectedly, you, who don't like forming alliances with others, have become part of their alliance. Garp said. A part? That's not the case. I just want to fulfill a previous promise. After I complete it, I will leave. Therefore, you'd better leave immediately with the Navy, so that I can complete one thing. The Red Earl said. Is it what you promised to make the Navy withdraw? This is impossible. Whether you are strong or influential, returning to the sea will definitely cause turmoil in the entire sea. The Navy will not let you go. All this is proof. Garp looked at the Navy that came to support continuously, and expressed his meaning. It doesn't matter. After doing my own thing, I will leave here. After the Red Earl finished speaking, he used the bat umbrella in his hand to quickly attack Garp. Big Fire. Bachi Changgu Yu. The 2 powerhouses of the Vice Admiral of the Navy headquarters, Sakaski and Pelusolino, began to attack Bondivaldo, the Devourer of Worlds, and Ling Fan immediately rushed forward upon seeing this. Start the super transformation form. Fuse Captain America, Hulk, Wolverine, Because after these three are combined, the body will fall into a state of almost immortality, and Ling Fan also actively fused the three. This time Ling Fan did not use the Hulk as the base, but the handsome Uncle Wolf as the base, merging the Hulk and the US team. In this way, the body did not become so huge, but it still possessed exaggerated speed and strength. It's this guy again. How did this guy become stronger? Sakazuki had fought against Ling Fan before, but at that time Ling Fan could only rely on Wolverine's ability to heal quickly to withstand Sakazuki's attack, but this time it was different. Ling Fan possesses Hulk's great power. Unless he becomes elemental, Ling Fan will become invincible. At this time, Ling Fan was fighting two natural-type fighters with 1 against 2, and he didn't know how to arm himself, so it was difficult to touch the bodies of the two. But the two of them are also very embarrassed at this time. After all, even if their attack falls on Ling Fan, it will be completely healed in less than 5 seconds. Moreover, Ling Fan's defense and attack this time can be said to be integrated. Holding the shield, and stretching out his Edelman metal claws, he will sprint, and the two attacking Ling Fan will also be blocked by the shield, and in the end they can only elementize helplessly. It is also completely impossible for Huang Yuan to use lasers to attack Ling Fan's head again. As soon as Huang Yuan's fingers start to accumulate strength, the big shield immediately covers his face. The two lieutenant generals of the Navy not only had no way to hurt Ling Fan, but they were restrained themselves. Don't forget, there's me. Bondavaldo, the eater of the world, used his Momo fruit to kill the Navy in a large area. The lion majestic role that the golden lion has handy can also kill a large number of navies. Sakazuki and others cursed. The vicious pirates are wantonly killing and wounding the Navy representing justice, but the Navy has dispatched so many generals, but it is still in a stalemate at this time. Bachi Chong Guyu. Pelusolino suddenly used his group attack skills, and countless light bullets immediately shot towards the pirates. Meteor Volcano. Sakazuki also used his strongest secret, and countless meteor-like flame fists fell from the sky and hit the pirates, and the pirate camp was immediately at a disadvantage. When he was fighting with me, he even attacked my subordinates. What an idiot. Ling Fan was also a little angry at this time, although the pirates who were recruited were all miscellaneous fish, but no matter what, they were his subordinates. I let you fight, let you kill. Ling Fan threw the shield in his hand with all his strength. Swoosh. There was a piercing sound, and the shield flew outward at a terrifying speed, and then drew a perfect arc. On the way, countless Marines were knocked into the air by shields. The shield is invincible, and even after hitting so many navies, it didn't deflect in any direction, and it still flew in such an arc. Breathe fire. Sakazuki was about to attack Ling Fan without a shield, but at this moment he suddenly panicked. The original Navy's camp was disrupted in an instant, and then a trembling aura exploded out in an instant, and the surrounding ground unexpectedly vibrated slowly. It's domineering. Ling Fan also held Captain America's shield again, and turned his gaze to the other side. It turned out to be the lonely red, and Redfield released the Overlord color. The domineering aura instantly suppressed Garp in front of him, and at the same time, countless Marines around him were also affected by the arrogance of the domineering color. Those miscellaneous fish Marines were all blind-eyed, and then fell to the ground. Ha 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 ha, I'm coming too. The golden lion also exploded afterwards. In addition to the domineering arrogance, many of the pirates also broke out the dominance. The target of everyone's dominance is the Navy on the opposite side, so the pirates have completely gained the upper hand at this time. However, the strength of the Navy is naturally not limited to this much. What is currently appearing here is only the vanguard of the Navy, the real force, which has passed through the triangular current at this time. That's it, Zephyr, and the Warring States period. Ling Fan's eyesight is very good, and he has already seen the enemy's reinforcements from a distance. Pirates, you have been defeated. 2 admirals have arrived with all the strength of the Navy headquarters. The despicable pirates will eventually perish. Sakazuki also showed a smug smile. Humph, naive. Do you think we will be defeated just because of this? Ling Fan smiled contemptuously. I'm Ling Fan. I'm bound to turn the sea upside down. Our group of pirates will find the real One Piece. Everything hidden by the world government will be revealed to the public again. Ling Fan said domineeringly. It's really scary. How dare you speak out when your death is imminent? Lion Thousand Cut Valley. The Golden Lion knocked the two lieutenant generals into the air with one blow, and then came to Ling Fan. The Red Earl also quickly came to Ling Fan. Because they already felt that Ling Fan was a little different, at this time Ling Fan began to have the aura of a king all over his body. The Red Earl, the Golden Lion and others are all top powerhouses in the world, and their domineering arrogance seems to have stimulated Ling Fan, and Ling Fan's black pupils seemed to shoot out a terrifying force. The earth suddenly began to shake. I want to kill the Navy. Kill the world government. Ling Fan finally broke out. A terrifying aura erupted from Ling Fan's body. Overlord color cannot be mastered through study, but once a person with overlord color and domineering energy is awakened, it proves that this person has the qualifications of a king. But Ling Fan's domineering arrogance is slightly different from other people's. After Ling Fan's domineering arrogance burst out, not only the weak marines around him fainted after being shocked, even the vice admirals and others were also affected. Big fire. Akainu punched Ling Fan, but the flame of the magma did not touch Ling Fan at all, and finally disappeared due to Ling Fan's amazing momentum. What a powerful domineering color. I didn't expect to be so terrifying when awakened for the first time. This guy is really powerful. Golden Lion praised. Only in this way can you be qualified to lead all the pirates. The Red Earl also recognized Ling Fan in his words. The domineering look can attack me. Sakazuki couldn't believe it at all. Impossible. Light speed kick. Pelusolino was surprised, and immediately used his own trick. Ling Fan's domineering look didn't stop, and when the speed of light kick entered Ling Fan's range, it disappeared completely. Drink. Ling Fan's whole body gradually began to form a phantom, and now even Carp and others were startled. The Navy in the distance has already landed immediately, and the Admiral on board, the Warring States of Buddha, said in surprise, "What is that? Is it domineering and domineering? This is the materialization of domineering look, how could there be such a person?" Another general, Zepha, was also very surprised. This kind of person must be eliminated. Otherwise, another Roger will appear. Zhang Guo's expression immediately became very serious. Everyone, kill that guy named Ling Fan at all costs. At all costs. Zhang Guo immediately used the amplified telephone bug to convey the message to the lieutenant generals. Immediately afterwards, everyone didn't care so much, and they all launched an attack on Ling Fan. Suddenly a voice sounded, "Such a good opponent. It would be a pity to let it to your garbage navy." A giant shirtless man suddenly appeared in front of everyone, and Garp and the other old men in the navy recognized his identity at a glance. "You are Douglas Barrett." Garp saw another existence that caused him headaches. The reason why Barrett was imprisoned in the City of Advancement was because his physical strength was exhausted by the demon-slaying order. The pirates defeated by him also suddenly launched a joint counterattack. Under the attack from two sides, they were defeated. But don't forget, he is a one-man army. One person resisted the existence of the demon slaughter order. Roger is dead, and this guy beat me too. It's hard to meet an opponent who can fight. I won't let him be killed by you. Although helping him, I'm very upset, but I'm even more upset that my prey was taken away by you. His domineering look made my blood burn. So, I want to play with your navy. This will be an epic battle. Barrett then unleashed his domineering arrogance. Although Barrett's overlord color didn't materialize like Ling Fan, it can cover the entire Judiciary Island, and it can always keep the overlord color out. The Golden Lion, the Red Earl, Barrett, and Ling Fan all released their domineering colors one after another. Almost all the soldiers on the Navy side were affected, fell to the ground, and passed out. However, naval reinforcements had also landed on Judicial Island at this time. The leader is naturally the Admiral of the Navy headquarters, Warring States. Beside him is the Admiral who has already covered his arms with armed colors, and is also the teacher of many Vice Admirals, the Chief Instructor Zepha the Black Arm. As expected, the Golden Lion, the Red Earl, Barrett, and the Eater of Worlds have all escaped from prison. Warring States also showed a sad face. Warring States, now that it's here, let's fight with all our strength, Zepha said. Let me have a try, your Ling Fan's strength. Warring States knew that the mastermind of this escape was Ling Fan. Ling Fan had a record of defeating Kuzan and a terrifying record of destroying 10 naval warships before. What a powerful character. He was able to survive under the Demon Slaughter Order. He was imprisoned in the City of Advancement, and he managed to escape from prison. He also destroyed Judiciary Island, which was heavily guarded by the Navy. Now he has awakened such a powerful domineering look. I, Zhongguo, want to know your true strength. Zhongguo naturally chose Ling Fan as his opponent. So are you underestimating me? Barrett rushed over at an extremely fast speed, trying to attack Sengoku, but was immediately blocked by Admiral Zephyr with his arms. Ha, then I'll play with you for a while. Barrett then started fighting Zephyr. The Red Earl fought against Garp, and Garp was obviously at a disadvantage, and then the Yellow Ape Pelusilino immediately made up for it. The two Vice Admirals faced the Red Earl together, and it was an evenly matched battle. The Golden Lion blasted away the three Lieutenant Generals, and Sakazuki also immediately replaced them. On today's battlefield, Golden Lion vs several Lieutenant Generals and Sakarsky. Red Earl vs Garp and Pelusilino. Barrett vs Black Arm Zephyr. Ling Fan vs Sengoku, the Eater of Worlds, and the rest of the pirates versus the rest of the Navy. Although this battle was still inferior to the decisive battle on the top of the mountain in some respects, it was still an extremely famous battle. Human Fruit Phantom Beast Species Great Buddha Form. At this time, the incarnation of the Warring States period became a huge Buddha statue, and he opened his huge Buddha palm to attack Ling Fan as soon as he raised his hand. Because the scope of the Warring States is too large, even the Navy and pirates have been affected, but the Warring States wants to kill Ling Fan, and this loss does not matter in his heart. HMPH. Don't think I'm easy to bully. Ling Fan supported the huge golden Buddha palm of the Warring States period as soon as he raised his hand. What? Zhongguo was taken aback. No one had ever been able to withstand this huge Buddha's palm with brute force, but what happened before him couldn't help but make him disbelieve. This guy's strength is really strong. The more you think about it, the more exciting it becomes. The more interesting it is. I really want to participate together. Barrett's heart is also full of fighting spirit. Don't be distracted. Your opponent is me. Black-armed Zephyr naturally wouldn't let Barrett interfere with the battle between Sengoku and Ling Fan. In his heart, no matter how strong Ling Fan is, he will never be an opponent of the Warring States period. After all, the Warring States period is the highest combat power of the Navy. Admiral. Go back. With such force, Ling Fan pushed back the huge Buddha palm in his hand. As a wise general in the Warring States period, he knew Ling Fan's ability as soon as he came into contact with him. Enormous strength. That's right. This kind of strength alone is enough to surpass the giants. What a terrible enemy. Afterwards, Zhongguo stopped using his palms to slap down from above, but replaced the slaps with his palms with pushes, and pushed them out forcefully. Ling Fan immediately dodged back, but Warring States did not intend to attack Ling Fan with his palm, but hit a huge shock wave. Boom! The huge shock wave made a deafening roar instantly, and the surrounding dust was also swept up. Ling Fan was quickly pushed backward by the shock wave. Drink! Ling Fan yelled, and the genes and cells of Captain America, Wolverine, and Hulk instantly released extremely powerful energy. The huge shock wave of the Warring States period was pushed into the air by Ling Fan with just such a swoosh. Even the shock wave can be blocked. And its powerful strength and defense. Warring States is also ready to go all out at this time. I don't believe it. Attack with all your strength, you will still be unscathed. The shock wave of the Warring States period was useless, but there was no discouragement. Instead, he pushed his arm repeatedly, and countless continuous shock waves were immediately shot out by the Warring States. It is impossible for Ling Fan to push every shock wave into the air. After all, this requires a process. However, at this time, the attacks of the Warring States period became more and more powerful. Ling Fan seemed to have changed his strategy, and he drew his shield up again. Boom, boom. The shock wave of the Warring States period hit Ling Fan's shield time and time again, and Ling Fan's body receded a little time and time again. However, after Ling Fan adapted to the power of the shock wave, he let out a Hulk-like roar, ow. Then he rushed towards the Warring States quickly. Even if the shock wave of the Warring States period is getting stronger and stronger, it cannot stop the fact that Ling Fan is quickly approaching the Warring States period. How is this possible? This guy has so much power. What is this shield? A metal harder than Halu stone. What is it? My series of terrifying shock waves. Let alone Ling Fan. Even if Roger came, he might not be able to stop it. This guy's hands are a little numb after all. Because Ling Fan was already close to Zongguo at this time, Zongguo immediately stretched out his huge hand, and blocked Ling Fan's face with his palm. Ling Fan made a tall challenge directly, and even jumped over the palm of the Warring States just like that. Transforming into a Buddha statue in the Warring States period is very huge. Although it is only a palm, it is definitely not a height that ordinary people can jump. Is this guy like Germa 66's Superman? You can jump so high. The Navy soldiers were also talking in surprise. Although Zongguo was shocked, he reacted quickly. He immediately turned his palm into a fist, grabbed Ling Fan with one hand, and smashed Ling Fan heavily with the other hand. Ling Fan, the pirates shouted, all worried. Everyone knows how powerful it is to transform into a giant Buddha in the Warring States period and hit the ground with all your strength. And the Warring States has waited for so long, and finally waited for such a moment. Go to hell, Ling Fan, no matter how powerful you are. You will never survive. Finally, Zongguo's fist smashed down. Boom, a loud voice sounded. Ha ha, it's finally killed. Pirates, you can disband. Your boss has been killed. Warring States also laughed, and naturally raised his fists. What? Nothing. Chapter 31. The expression on Zongguo's face at this time was quite exciting. Under his full blow, the entire judicial island trembled, and the island was almost sunk. However, the final result was that Zongguo raised his hand, but there was nothing. It's impossible. I've been waiting for this opportunity. How did he avoid it? Zongguo looked around looking for Ling Fan's figure. Hey, I'm here again. At this time, a voice sounded. It was obviously Ling Fan, and Ling Fan at this time had unknowingly come to the shoulder of Zongguo. Warring States showed an expression of disbelief. Asshole. Zongguo raised his palm and slapped himself on the shoulder, but after the shooting, Ling Fan had already run to Zongguo's shoulder. This guy, so flexible, I never saw him drive so much. Zongguo couldn't help but said. The corner of Ling Fan's mouth also raised slightly, and he said very proudly, how is it? General of the Warring States period. My strength is not bad, right? I want to know, with my strength, can I be considered a general? Don't be so proud. Zongguo once again waved his golden Buddha palm. Ling Fan launched an attack. However, Ling Fan was able to dodge smoothly every time, and it was very easy. After fighting like this, Ling Fan was full of energy in the end, but in the Warring States period, he was sweating profusely and felt a little weak. As a wise general in the Warring States period, you are also analyzing Ling Fan in various ways. This guy seems very strong. Zepha also took time to praise during the battle. So, I beat you, and I want to beat him too. Barrett showed an evil smile. At this time, he looked at the Navy as if he saw other predators robbing it of food. Warring States, your speed is not my opponent. This is a fact. I don't want to bully you, so I will use your best strength to fight against you. Ling Fan's words revealed a trace of indifference, and that indifference is actually self-confidence. It seems that no matter what method is used, the general Warring States can be killed in the end. In fact, the reason why Ling Fan was able to avoid the attack of the Warring States just now was because he fused Kuayin Wolverine and Captain America, and with the speed of Kuayin's sonic level, Ling Fan was already invincible. But that's just undefeated, and can't win. Ling Fan hopes that he can defeat the Warring States head-on with the power of the three heroes. This will also greatly improve the morale of all his subordinates. Hearing that Ling Fan didn't care about his words, Zongguo became angry again. I'm an admiral of the Navy. The highest combat power of the Navy. Don't underestimate me. Warring States folded his hands together, and transformed into a golden Buddha that became even bigger. Obviously, his strength also increased. This time, I will use my strength. I will defeat you with all my strength. Warring States General, Ling Fan then said. Start the super transformation form. With Hulk as the main body, integrate the Captain and Wolverine. After Ling Fan finished speaking, his body began to swell rapidly. Because Ling Fan did not have the ability to suppress himself this time, the height of his whole body skyrocketed rapidly. Although it was still not as huge and exaggerated as the Warring States of Buddha, it still looked very deterrent. My god, this guy has turned into a monster. This monster, it's extremely terrifying. Warring States generals must be careful. Some people who have seen Ling Fan's power also reminded them of the Warring States Road. At this time in the Warring States period, Ling Fan, who was transformed into a green giant in front of him, was also very surprised. It is not difficult to see that Hulk's power must be extremely terrifying. The Warring States also put out all their strength to fight. Armed color is hardened. The armed color of the Warring States period is not covered with black on a golden basis, but has become a more dazzling gold on a golden basis. The golden armed color domineering covers the whole body, and the body is like a humanoid weapon. Bang 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 bang. The golden Buddha rushed towards Ling Fan actively. Ling Fan also showed a fierce look. Under the green skin, blue veins burst instantly, and the explosive force made Ling Fan rush up like a rocket. Boom. The two collided together like this, and a huge shock wave spread out quickly, centered on the two of them. The shock wave spread layer by layer, and soon affected the entire judicial island. It's really scary. What kind of power is this? Pelusalino was really surprised this time. General of the Warring States period. I hope you can defeat the evil enemy. Justice must prevail. Although Sakazuki was surprised by Ling Fan's power, he was more confident in the Warring States period. As expected of being able to command my existence, this level of power. It's simply too strong. Golden Lion dissatisfied everyone in his life, but he only admired Ling Fan. Of course, not only because Ling Fan helped him escape from prison, but more importantly, Ling Fan had the feeling that even a peerless powerhouse like the Golden Lion would bow down. Sure enough, among the overlords, there are also a few existences who can make the overlord look real. This kid's strength is really unprecedented. The Red Earl also praised. This level of strength has completely surpassed me. I heard that Ling Fan is just a child, right? Carp couldn't help asking. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, that's right. This level of strength, I will definitely not lose to Roger. It would be interesting if I could fight him with all my strength. I will definitely spend my whole life and kill him. Barrett has basically lost his goal since the death of One Piece King Roger, and Ling Fan gave him another object in his heart that he wanted to surpass. At this time, the face of the Warring States was sinking like water, with an extremely serious expression, and the whole person was staring at Ling Fan in front of him. What is slightly different about Ling Fan is his eyes, which are full of confidence and firmness. General Warring States, I want to defeat you. I want to overthrow the rule of the world government and navy. Ling Fan said firmly. HMPH. Wishful thinking. Ha. Warring States and Ling Fan, holding each other tightly with both hands, they are a bit like sumo wrestlers, and they are competing for strength in the form of wrestling at this time. Warring States exhausted all their strength, and Ling Fan also strengthened his strength step by step. With the fusion of Captain America, Uncle Wolf, and Hulk, Ling Fan's power has been explosively improved. What a powerful force. I have been a soldier all my life. I have never seen anyone with such supernatural power. Although you are an enemy. But you are worthy of respect. After Zhang Guo finished speaking, his power became stronger again. It can be seen that Zhang Guo spared no effort this time. It's the same with you. Among the people I have fought against, your strength is the strongest. Others praised Ling Fan, and Ling Fan also praised him back. This did not prevent him from further improving his strength at all. Sengoku's body was pushed backwards again. This kind of power. Who else is the opponent? Warring States also said to himself. However, when Ling Fan was about to push Zhang Guo away in one go, a person stood behind Zhang Guo. Sengoku saw Zephyr behind him. At this time Zephyr said, I will not let him defeat you, Sengoku, for justice. We will never give up. Zephyr's image instantly became much brighter and taller. Ling Fan is also a little speechless. Zephyr still believes in the navy and the world government. In the future, when all the naval interns on his ship are massacred, and then the enemy is banned by the world government, he will not say so. Are you going to stop me too? Ling Fan asked. Admiral's strength is definitely not something you can catch up with. What's the matter? Come to me. Zephyr rushed directly to Ling Fan. Zephyr turned his own arms into black, which is a veritable black-armed Zephyr. Compared with the Buddha-shaped Warring States, Zephyr's body is naturally much smaller, and Zephyr is different from other people. Although he ranks high as a general, he has not taken the devil fruit. What is he relying on? Naturally, it's my black wrist. Super strong armed color hardened. At this time, Zephyr rushed towards Ling Fan, and the same general of the warring states also rushed towards Ling Fan. At this moment, Ling Fan was confronting the warring states and Zephyr with his own strength. Although it is said that one is against two, Ling Fan is not only not afraid, but is full of fighting spirit. Well done. I'll deal with you well. Ling Fan bravely went up to him, raised his fist, and threw it not only at Zephyr, but also at Zhang Guo. The three of them fought together. At this time, Ling Fan didn't have much knowledge, but because of his super reflexes and senses far surpassing that of beasts, now that he has become a giant, he doesn't care about anything, just a word, gang. Ling Fan blocked most of Zephyr's and warring states' attacks. As for those that were really unstoppable, Ling Fan did not choose to dodge, but launched his own attack while bearing the damage. Captain America, Uncle Wolf, and Hulk all have extremely powerful self-healing abilities. Now that the three have merged, self-healing abilities have become quite powerful, let alone Sengoku and Zephyr. Ling Fan can be said to be immortal at this time. Using his own body to rampage like a tank, Zephyr, as an admiral of the Navy, has long been famous at sea and is a strong man with rich combat experience and skillful combat techniques, but at this time, he was continuously defeated by Ling Fan's frontal and tough combat methods. No, warring states. This guy's body is too strong. Zephyr then added. Did you see it just now? Even if I was hit with all my strength and scratch the skin, it can quickly heal itself within a few seconds. This is simply stronger than the 4 Emperor Kaido's body. Zephyr said. Warring states naturally knew what Kaido represented. The strongest creature in the sea, land and air could not commit suicide, and his body was extremely strong. I don't know what will happen to these two guys after the battle. Zephyr is also thinking about it. Give up, you have already lost. Ling Fan said. In terms of high-end combat power, our PK is over, and you are not our opponents. Ling Fan said. That's not the case. Sengoku pointed to the battle scene between the Navy and the pirates and said, our Navy has regained its disadvantage, and there will be more navies coming here. No matter how strong your personal strength is. After all, you are not the opponent of the entire Navy. You cannot defeat Pelusalino or Sakazuki. And we have a lot of time to deal with you. The CP0 people are also on their way here. It is said that Marshal Steel Bone Kong will come to reinforce. Warring states also said with a sneer. Of course, Ling Fan saw a trace of panic on the face of the warring states period. This panic was not caused by lying, but by telling the truth. The warring states period was very frightened, afraid that Ling Fan would suddenly be furious, and then kill all the Marines on the scene. At that time, the admirals would not escape their lives. As long as they were not naturally strong navy, they should all be killed by monsters like Ling Fan. The general of the warring states period didn't even realize that at this time, he had already developed a little fear of Ling Fan. Even when facing Roger, the pirate king, the warring states period was not as flustered as it is now. Ling Fan is not some brainless hero who knows when to fight and when to endure. Before attacking, the bear will stand up and make his body very tall for 100 years to intimidate the opponent. The situation in the warring states period is the same now. He uses the remaining power of the Navy to threaten Ling Fan, just to scare Ling Fan away and let Ling Fan use another way to communicate with the Navy, not the current way. You want to negotiate, Ling Fan then said. Warring states, you are a smart person, and I understand what you mean. Right now, we are isolated and helpless, but the Navy can continue to come here through the triangular current. Furthermore, people from the world government will indeed send reinforcements when the Navy suffers consecutive defeats. Once our high-level combat power is lost, your Navy will easily win the round, and we will not be far from extinction. Both Zhang Guo and Garp were very surprised. They didn't expect Ling Fan not only to fight so bravely, but also to think so clearly. You're right, we can't do anything against you, but you can't do anything against us, but after a long time, we will win in the end. So, do you want to negotiate with our Navy? I have no choice, Warring States said. Ling Fan thought for a while and then said, Warring States, you are just an admiral of the Navy. Can you speak well? Will the people of the world government listen to you? I can't confirm these. What if the Navy and the world government don't recognize it after the negotiation? What should I do? And in case we die here, won't everything be discredited by your Navy and the world government? Master Ling Fan's words are very reasonable. If the Navy is just delaying time instead of sincerely wanting to negotiate, then it's okay not to talk about it. The Golden Lion snorted coldly. With high-end combat power, Ling Fan would not be afraid of the Navy. Well, what you said makes sense. If that's the case, I'll make a phone call with the Marshal. After Zhang Guo finished speaking, he picked up the phone bug. The two talked for a while, and Zhang Guo finally hung up the phone. Zhang Guo then received another call, and then Zhang Guo said, yes. Then Zhang Guo walked over slowly and said, Ling Fan, Wu Laoxing wants to talk to you. 5 old stars, the highest authority in the world government. All the pirates know what the 5 old stars represent, representing the world government. It seems that they are sincerely planning to negotiate, Mr. Ling Fan. Golden Lion said. I don't know what tricks the 5 old stars will play. The Red Earl also scanned the entire navy with a smirk. Hey, what will it develop into? Barrett also showed an evil smile. Ling Fan walked up to Zhang Guo, looked at the phone bug that had transformed into one of the 5 old stars, and put it next to his ear. At this time, Ling Fan and Warring States have naturally returned to their normal figures, and Ling Fan appeared in the image of Captain America at this time. Everyone has already understood Ling Fan's transformation ability, so it is not surprising. The Wu Laoxing side is also very interesting, seeing the face of the American team wearing a blue mask with the word written on his head. Are you sure it's Ling Fan? A 5 old star asked. I'm Ling Fan, Wu Laoxing. Ling Fan also almost pissed off Wu Laoxing. What an amazing person. He was just a child of O'Hara, but now he has come to this point. Counterattacking the Demon Slaughter Order, making a big fuss to advance the city, and destroying Judicial Island, everything is beyond the reach of ordinary people. Ling Fan immediately sarcastically said, I'm overwhelmed, the sum of all these things can't compare to your feat of destroying O'Hara. Originally we planned to fight you forever, but now we plan to give you a chance. As long as you tell the hidden location of that girl and Vice Admiral Soro, we will let you go. Wu Laoxing said. Oh, since it's that simple, Ling Fan said deliberately. Yes, we keep our word, because we represent the world government. Wu Laoxing said. Then I will also give you 2 words to dream. Ling Fan immediately rejected Wu Laoxing's proposal. How can a person who abandons his friends deserve to live? Besides, I don't know where Robin went. Ling Fan also answered truthfully. He didn't know, so naturally he couldn't tell, and Wu Laoxing couldn't help it. Well, we can let you go, but we can't let go of your men. After all, they are the most vicious pirates in the world. If they go out one by one, they will break the balance at sea. Now, you can make a choice, whether to choose your own life or the lives of your subordinates. Wu Laoxing was very cunning and posed such a difficult problem to Ling Fan. However, with the combination of Ling Fan of the US team, his IQ is also extremely high, and it is easy to break through the little tricks of the 5 old stars to sow discord. 5 old stars, give up, what is a subordinate? They are willing to give their lives to protect me, but I can also give my life for them. I have said that I will not abandon my friends, and I will not abandon them. Brothers who plan to venture into the sea with me. Ling Fan was full of pride, his subordinates had tears in their eyes, and they were also moved by Ling Fan's words. Such a magnanimity, not losing to Roger, it's interesting. Barrett smiled complacently again, he thought he had chosen the right opponent this time. It's the first time I've met such a stupid person. Even if I'm aloof, I can't help but feel excited. The Red Earl was also moved by Ling Fan's rhetoric. That's right, as expected of the person recognized by my Golden Lion. This is the real aptitude of a king. The Golden Lion also nodded in praise. If Lord Ling Fan wants to die, we will definitely not just live in mediocrity. The pirates shouted aggressively at this moment. Wu Laoxing was very embarrassed. They wanted to drive a wedge between Pirate and Ling Fan, but they did not expect it to be self-defeating. Instead, they enhanced the relationship between the two. 5 old stars. Don't play tricks there. I guess, the Navy headquarters doesn't have more troops to deal with me, right? Ling Fan asked loudly. What? We don't understand what you're talking about. Wu Laoxing was very good at acting, pretending that he didn't know anything and didn't understand anything. Stop pretending. You launched the demon-slaying order, and I used the Nova explosion to destroy 10 of your naval warships, and then made a big fuss in advancing the city, came to Judicial Island and destroyed Judicial Island. Later, you sent more than warships, all of which are here. It takes time for the Navy to gather. If the advanced city fell, even though you received Hannibal's notice very early, you only dispatched Sakaski and his fellow Navy. Now that the lieutenant generals and generals are gathered here, if you still have the strength, I'm afraid you would have sent more reinforcements to attack. You won't be negotiating with me here. If my guess is correct, the real threat to the Navy should be in the New World, right? There are all kinds of vicious big pirates there, and the most important thing is that they can be equal to your Navy headquarters. I don't believe that the Navy and the world government are willing to mobilize all their forces here to deal with me. Don't you think so? 5 old stars. If I stand up and fight, except for the natural departments Sakaski and Pelusalino who may survive, everyone else may die here. Golden Lion, Red Earl, Barrett, Waldo. Which one is not invincible above the sea? Which one is not an existence that rivals the 4 emperors? Mr. Wu Laoxing, are you sure you don't want to negotiate with me? Wu Laoxing was also a little surprised. Your brain is extremely smart. Are you interested in joining the world government or navy? Don't worry, if you join us, all the pirates will be named our navy, and you will also become our admiral. How about it? Wu Laoxing once again threw out an olive branch to Ling Fan. This time, Wu Laoxing did not use any tricks, but simply admired Ling Fan. Then why not? I'm the executioner who killed so many navies. It's more suitable for us to be pirates. Do you still want to negotiate? If you don't negotiate, let's go to war. Ling Fan was not joking, and he was full of fighting spirit in an instant. Looking into the eyes of Sengoku and Zepha, a raging flame began to burn. Wait, Wu Laoxing immediately persuaded Ling Fan, but he told Steel Ji Kong all the actual situation in the warring states just now, and Kong conveyed everything to Wu Laoxing. On the basis of ensuring that Ling Fan's strength is very strong, Wu Laoxing made such a phone call, otherwise he would not waste time with Ling Fan. Then let me just say it. Your analysis just now is correct. The Navy has no power to send more troops to conquer you. I know you will not let the Navy leave. Come on, you can make a request. Wu Laoxing said. Is it okay to ask for anything? 5 old stars, are you serious? Ling Fan also said with some doubts. Well, that's the only way to go. Wu Laoxing had no choice but to take Ling Fan's strength. Even a general could not do anything about him. With his strong personal charm and sharp mind, Wu Laoxing could only take a step back. In this case, I declare that the Judicial Island Agreement will begin. Ling Fan said against the guest. What agreement? Wu Laoxing asked. 3 demands. Promise me, and I will let the Navy leave. Ling Fan said domineeringly. 3. Let's hear it. Wu Laoxing is also waiting for Ling Fan to tell. These 3 requirements are very easy for people in your navy and world government to fulfill, Ling Fan said. First of all, the first condition, after the O'Hara incident, the world government will definitely place a reward on the former Vice Admiral of the Navy headquarters Soro and Nicole Robin. My request is to withdraw the rewards offered by Robin and Soro. Ling Fan said. Scholars from O'Hara, what do they have to do with you? We said that we would satisfy your personal requirements, but you let us let go of the person we most want to get rid of. Naturally, Wu Laoxing wanted to kill Robin and Soro wholeheartedly. One is the only scholar in the world who can understand the text of history, and the other is a traitor in the Navy who wants to save the devil's son. With emotion and reason, the 5 old stars will not agree. Ling Fan already knew that Wu Laoxing would disagree, so he said, this condition is the most important. If you can't even meet this condition, there is nothing to talk about between us. I will immediately use all my strength to destroy your navy. Ling Fan didn't finish laughing. He knew that Robin had endured a lot since she was a child, things that she didn't need to bear at her age. Therefore, he hoped that Robin could have a relatively stable growth environment. Is there nothing to discuss? Wu Laoxing asked. This is the first condition, which represents the attitude of the world government and me, Ling Fan. If you don't agree to this, then forget it. Ling Fan's attitude is very firm. Wu Laoxing's attitude softened a lot afterward. In fact, after they revoked the reward offered by the 2, they could also use other methods to attack the 2 of them. Therefore, the impact of whether the reward was withdrawn or not was not that great. Yes, we agreed to the first condition. Under Ling Fan's request, Wu Laoxing finally agreed to the first condition. Let's talk about your remaining 2 conditions. I hope the conditions you put forward will not be so excessive. Wu Laoxing warned. The second condition, the 5 of you will be very happy. Ling Fan then said, because of this condition, you can easily do it. What? Give me 1 billion Baileys. Ling Fan said. 1 billion, Bailey. Wu Laoxing pondered for a moment, first analyzed Ling Fan's purpose for asking for the money, and then he could only think that Ling Fan took the money to regroup. Is it just 1 billion Baileys? That's no problem. Wu Laoxing agreed to Ling Fan's request again. Is Zero Fan only 1 billion Baileys? Certainly. 1 billion Baileys is equivalent to a bounty for a general in a disaster. The bounty for the Emperor's vice level is actually not that much in front of the big world government. However, the purpose of Ling Fan asking for this money is mainly to drive a wedge between the Navy and the world government. We fought bloody battles. The world government actually promised to compensate the enemy. Did we do something wrong? Many navies are a little disheartened because of this incident. Although 1 billion Baileys are not many, but in order to ensure the Navy's high-end combat power, the 5 old stars are naturally USO. But they didn't figure out why Ling Fan did this. 1 billion Baileys has created a discord within the Navy. Enough. Ling Fan was still a little happy in his heart, and the gossip around him already showed that Ling Fan had achieved the desired effect. We have agreed on the 1 billion Bailey matter. After you finish the 3rd condition, we will ask the Navy to find a way to give Bailey to you. Wu Laoxing then asked. So, what else? Let's talk about the last condition. Ling Fan thought for a while and said, the last condition I have to make clear is that we let the Navy go, and your Navy and the world government can't take the initiative to attack us either. The 3rd condition is a peace agreement. The Navy and the world government must guarantee peaceful coexistence with us. The time is 5 years to sign, right? The above 3 conditions must be signed in written documents, and must be clearly signed in black and white. And, I'm going to see the Navy's sincerity on the front page of the next day's newspaper. These are my 3 conditions. Ling Fan stated his last condition and the necessary additions to the 3 conditions in one go. Do you want the whole world to know that the Navy and the world government have bowed to you? Wu Laoxing was a little angry. The 3 conditions are all okay, but your request is too much. The other Wu Laoxing also said angrily. I don't care. You 5 are just communicating with me. It's useless at all. If the whole world is a witness, maybe you will keep your promise more. Ling Fan knows that the Navy and the world government are very insidious. Even if he is like this, the other party may play tricks. That's all my requirements and conditions, you can figure it out. Regardless of whether the 5 old stars agree or not, Ling Fan threw the phone bug to Zhang Guo, and he walked into his camp step by step. The warring states picked up the phone bug in embarrassment, and started communicating with Wu Laoxing again. And Ling Fan returned to his camp, and was immediately surrounded by applause. Master Ling Fan, how dare you threaten Wu Laoxing? You're so handsome. In the entire sea, no matter whether Wu Laoxing will agree to our request or not, your name will definitely spread throughout the sea. What you have done today is already comparable to Roger the Pirate King. You are a hero in the eyes of our pirates. Ling Fan's subordinates are very excited at this time, their boss is a person with personal charm. In the world, they are extremely rare. The powerhouses on the pirate side all recognize Ling Fan very much, but the Navy side is extremely disappointed with the world government. They have been fighting hard, but in the end they had to be forced to retreat. The reason is that the world government is afraid of losing the high-end combat power of the Navy, which will damage its foundation, and it is very likely that it will not be able to deter the pirates in the New World in the future. Reparations. Begging for peace. Sakaski's temper was the hottest. When the Navy was not at a disadvantage, the 5 old stars actually made them take the initiative to confess, and the Navy was naturally extremely uncomfortable. A while later, Zhang Guo finally hung up the phone with a solemn expression. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Guo sighed and said to Ling Fan, the 5 old stars have agreed to your request, Mr. Ling Fan, and I will give you 1 billion Bailey first. They have also revoked the rewards offered by Devil's Son, Nicole Robin, and the former Lieutenant General Soro. At the latest, tomorrow's News Bird headlines will publish the requirements and conditions you put forward for this judicial island. Now, on behalf of the Navy and the world government, I am starting to draw up an agreement. What is the name of your organization? Sengoku asked. Ling Fan was very excited, so he tried it himself, but he didn't expect it to be successful. The name of our organization is the Avengers. The Avengers. Sengoku read out the entire name and pondered for a while. This guy, sooner or later, will become the enemy of the Navy. Can we just let him go like this? But what can we do if we don't let him go? At present, there is no way to defeat him, and the forces of the four emperors are also very arrogant, so we have to guard against their sneak attacks. The Warring States period also experienced some psychological struggles, and finally drew up the content of the agreement. Ling Fan stepped forward, took a look, and found that there was no problem, and then signed his name. Immediately afterwards, the Warring States period also signed the agreement. Immediately afterwards, there were some people in the Navy who were similar to war reporters. They took a camera and took a picture of the moment when the two shook hands. The two parties have completed the signing of the agreement. Is that all right? Sengoku asked. Okay, the Navy can evacuate, we will never do anything. Ling Fan said. This judicial island is ours. I mean, you can leave first. Zhongguo didn't expect Ling Fan to turn his back on customers. Haha, Ling Fan couldn't suppress the excitement in his heart, and laughed involuntarily. Sorry, I forgot. Everyone, go back to the warship. Ling Fan ordered. Immediately afterwards, Ling Fan's men rushed towards the warship like a tide. They were not worried that the Navy would launch a sudden attack, because they all knew that they had an extremely powerful backer. Their leader, Ling Fan. Warring States also swallowed a mouthful of saliva when they saw all the pirates boarded the warship. Everyone, listen to my orders. Ling Fan then looked at the Golden Lion, and then at Waldo and the others. Take off. Then the whole warship floated into the air under the urging of the Golden Lion's fluttering fruit. Immediately afterwards, Valdo urged Momo Fruit, and the speed of the warship instantly increased dozens of times, and finally disappeared into the sky. Because Ling Fan wanted to find Robin, the warship naturally flew to the west. Whether it was the City of Advancement or Judiciary Island, it belonged to the first half of the Great Waterway. Such a fast flight was equivalent to directly crossing the mainland. On the warship, Ling Fan has completely got rid of the battle with the Navy. Ling Fan believes that the Navy will not break his promise. After all, there are black and white words. Ling Fan, fight me. On the spaceship, a strong man naturally started to challenge Ling Fan. Barrett, it's you again, haven't you already lost to me? Ling Fan asked. That was my carelessness. This time, I will try my best to fight you. Barrett transformed into a devil mode, and he was about to make a move. But this time the Red Earl took the initiative to stand in front of Ling Fan. Oh, a person who is so lonely wants to protect his prey? Barrett asked with a smile. I didn't treat him as a prey. I also agreed to two conditions. You let me finish these two things, and you will fight him again, okay? Said the Red Earl. Should I say no? Barrett also took a step forward. If you say no, I will have no choice but to kill you. The Red Earl showed a wicked smile. Don't fight anymore. Didn't you see that Master Ling Fan ignored you at all? Waldo said. Yes, we are now the strongest force in the sea, so we should not fight among ourselves, otherwise, I will let the spaceship fall and everyone will die together. The Golden Lion also said with a half-smile. Ling Fan is now immersed in discussing whether the matter just now is a big event with the Holy Plan, but he can't hear anything after being quarreled, and immediately said, Barrett, I am a person without domineering, even if you beat me, I'm afraid you won't win by force. The Red Earl promised me that he would teach me everything about himself. At that time, if you can still defeat me, then I will obey you. Now, even if you kill me, I will not accept it. Ling Fan said. Instead, Barrett was laughed at by Ling Fan's words. Hee, if you learn domineering, you will be able to defeat me. You think too much of yourself, right? Barrett also sneered. Why don't you wait and see? On our way to the West Sea, I learned to be domineering, and then beat you head on. You have to join our Avengers Alliance sincerely. Ling Fan said. Using such a short time to learn domineering. Ha ha ha, it's really interesting. If this is the case, it will be interesting. I'm looking forward to the battle between us. I'm not in a hurry, you can learn it quickly. Barrett raised the corner of his mouth, then turned and returned to the cabin. Obviously, Barrett does not believe that Ling Fan can learn domineering in such a short period of time, let alone that Ling Fan can defeat Barrett head-on by learning domineering. Then Ling Fan cast his gaze on the Red Earl. Ha! Bravery. I like it. Ling Fan, I will teach you everything I know. Okay. After Ling Fan traveled to the world of pirates, he experienced many battles, but the one he fought the most was advancing the city. Why? Because the strongest enemy of advancing city is none other than the poisonous Magellan. No matter how strong the superhuman system is, Ling Fan can use his almost immortal things to fight hard, but the 3 future Navy generals are all natural type abilities. In the future, Ling Fan will meet other nature type abilities. They can use elementalization. Every time it is obvious that the opponent can be knocked out with a punch, the opponent can elementalize himself with a single thought, and even the sonic level Kuayan can't hit the opponent in time. Why? It is because Ling Fan lacks a very important ability in the later stage of pirates. My most powerful strength is knowledge, domineering, physical and sword skills. The Red Earl said. What I need most now is armed domineering. Ling Fan said awkwardly. Armed domineering. Basically pirates in the new world with a bounty of over million will be able to, but the strength used is different. After having a stronger armed domineering color, it can be perfectly combined with oneself to exert a power far beyond one's own. This is the most powerful armed domineering color. The Red Earl looked at the Golden Lion. Okay, next, let me demonstrate briefly. The Golden Lion looked at the Red Earl and him, and naturally knew what the Red Earl meant. Golden Lion Shiji's mastery of armed color is obviously stronger, but Red Earl's knowledge color is stronger. What the two sides have in common is that they both have extremely powerful swordsmanship. The fluttering fruit of the Golden Lion and the bat fruit of the Red Earl are extremely powerful devil fruits. What about Zero Fan? In the final analysis, he just took advantage of the transformation system of the divine plan, and he himself was just an 8-year-old child. Waldo, you slow down the speed of the spaceship a little, so as to free up more time, Ski, Redfield, and then you all teach me how to use domineering. Immediately afterwards, Ling Fan withdrew from the transformation state, and became his 8-year-old self again. Isn't this the little master you're talking about? Is this your true self? Yes, this is my true self. Ling Fan naturally did not lie to his own people. I want to ask, how old are you? Waldo asked gossipingly. I am 8 years old this year. Ling Fan also said with the remaining memory. 8 years old. Everyone was shocked. Awakened Overlord color at only 8 years old. Is it so scary? It seems that we have chosen the right one. The pirates didn't despise Ling Fan because of this, on the contrary, they were more in awe of Ling Fan. Afterwards, the Red Earl and the Golden Lion began to guide Ling Fan carefully. Armed color domineering is one of the 3 categories of domineering. The other 2 are domineering color domineering and knowledge color domineering. Overlord color domineering, you have already awakened. From now on, as long as you can control the main Overlord color domineering energy, you will be able to retract it freely. Knowledge color domineering has multiple functions: sensing attacks, predicting the opponent's next move, sensing the strength of creatures, sensing the emotions and thinking of creatures, and sensing the position and number of objects outside the field of vision. These are the basic abilities of knowledge color, and the scope and intensity vary from person to person. Armed color domineering is. The 2 legendary pirates poured all the knowledge they knew into Ling Fan, and Ling Fan didn't know why, but he memorized all such complicated things. Holy plan, can you explain it? Ling Fan asked. Doesn't Captain America have a photographic memory? It's normal, the divine plan said. But, I haven't merged with the US team now. Now I belong to my own deity mode. Ling Fan also asked, very puzzled. Well, yes, the hero you have fused will further change your physique and guide your body in a better way, so you understand. That is to say, one day, you will be able to possess various superhero abilities without transforming at all. Every transformation will subtly affect yourself. The divine plan explained it again, and Ling Fan completely understood it now. The Golden Lion and the Red Earl here asked, have you understood the basics of domineering and swordsmanship? Ling Fan just focused on 2 tasks. While communicating with the divine plan, he also listened to the lectures given by 2 legendary pirates. Now in his brain, all the knowledge about domineering and swordsmanship has been memorized. Teachers, can you talk about the actual combat? After all, the battle with Barrett is an actual combat. I can't tell him the theory to death, right? Ling Fan said. The theories just now are the essence of what we have summed up after a long period of fighting. You understand it so quickly. Stupid. Have you forgotten how smart Master Ling Fan is? Okay, since the progress is so fast, let's talk about the actual application next, and I will speed up a little bit. The Red Earl quickly said his knowledge and experience, and let Ling Fan take the initiative to attack himself, and the Red Earl avoided all Ling Fan's attacks. Immediately afterwards, the Golden Lion covered its arms with armed colors, and began to attack the Red Earl with its arms. The two legendary pirates did not hesitate to use actual combat methods to speed up Ling Fan's understanding. Ling Fan was very clever, and instantly understood the meaning of the Golden Lion and the Red Earl very thoroughly. In addition to covering your body with arrogance, you can also cover your own weapons with arrogance. The Golden Lion covered his two knives with the color of the weapon, and then began to slash at the Red Earl. The Red Earl was very knowledgeable, and easily dodged the attack of the Golden Lion. The Red Earl was far faster than the Golden Lion, and quickly caught the Golden Lion, and finally put his hand in front of the Golden Lion. If I can use the fruit ability, I will not necessarily be weaker than you. The Golden Lion also urged the airship to float, and he was naturally defeated by the Red Earl. After seeing the battle between the legendary pirates, Ling Fan gained a lot, and immediately closed his eyes to feel his own arrogance, trying to control it. The Red Earl and the Golden Lion were very surprised. They couldn't imagine that Ling Fan could be so enchanting. Not only was he extremely intelligent, but he was also full of domineering power. Awakened Overlord color at the age of 8. Now even more quickly entered the cultivation of armed color domineering. He is rapidly mastering the armed color. His understanding is so strong. Are you born to be a warrior? It seems that another big pirate who is no different from Roger or even surpasses Roger will appear in the sea. The Red Earl and the Golden Lion looked at Ling Fan, and they hadn't been so excited for many years. Ling Fan devoted himself wholeheartedly to the world of his practice of armed domineering, and I don't know how long it took. Ling Fan finally found that feeling, and finally activated the armed domineering, and then covered it on his arms. Phew! Ling Fan opened his eyes, and he found that his arm was covered with a thin layer of black substance. The armed color is hardened. This is mastered. Too horrible. The pirates around were all amazed at Ling Fan's talent, thinking that it took a lot of effort for them to master domineering back then. Ling Fan was not proud of this. He immediately removed the hardening of the armed color, and then used domineering to cover his body again. The familiar feeling appeared again, and the black armed color also appeared on Ling Fan's body. Success again. Ling Fan repeated this action differently, until he completely remembered the feeling of hardening the armed color domineering, and then he breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that the armed domineering is to use the domineering to enhance defense and attack, so if the domineering is released, what is it? Ling Fan then began to try to release the armed domineering. Immediately afterwards, a powerful armed color burst out, and Ling Fan obviously felt that his armed color seemed to have been improved. Armed domineering, it seems to be able to deter the opponent. Of course, you can also deliberately put the domineering in the fist area, like Luffy, to achieve the ultimate strengthening, or you can cover the whole body, and the whole body turns black. This is probably the so-called devil mode. Before he knew it, the airship had already entered the territory of the West Sea. Barrett seemed to be pinching his hand, and when he came out of the cabin, he saw that Ling Fan was already covered in armed colors, and his eyes immediately showed surprise and surprise. Ling Fan. Is it Ling Fan? This guy has mastered the armed domineering in such a short period of time. Barrett didn't know what to say. At this time, Ling Fan felt that it was almost done, and then opened his eyes. The sky outside was already dark, and at this time Barrett was also standing there, aggressive. Barrett, I've already learned how to use weapons. Although I haven't perfected it yet, it's enough to deal with you. Without destroying the airship, I plan to defeat you quickly. Ling Fan then transformed directly. This time he did not choose Wolverine, but only chose to transform into Captain America. Raising his shield, Ling Fan looked at Barrett and said, "Come on, Barrett." Ha 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 ha. Barrett laughed a few times, and then said, "I haven't been this excited for a long time. Since Roger's death, few people can make me so excited. I hope you don't let me down. It's best to defeat me. Then I can live with direction." Barrett said. Don't worry, since I came to this world, no one has defeated me except myself. I will definitely fulfill your wish of defeating me. Ling Fan smiled slightly, watching Barrett's eyes full of fighting spirit. Let's start. As soon as Barrett finished speaking, his eyes were as sharp as eagles, and the whole body's aura instantly locked onto Ling Fan, and Ling Fan immediately felt Barrett's domineering. Barrett directly released domineering, not only armed, but also domineering. Although the terrifying overlord color was only aimed at Ling Fan, the weak pirates around were still dizzy from the shock. The corners of Ling Fan's mouth rose slightly. With Barrett as good as a whetstone, it was definitely enough to hone his armed domineering aura. Ling Fan's pupils shrank slightly, and then his whole body burst out with domineering aura. Once this aura is awakened, it will last forever. Overlord color means having the qualifications of a king, and then the overlord color explodes again. As long as the emotions and one's own needs are needed, it will be a matter of course. The domineering colors of the two collided with each other, the surrounding air vibrated, and the aura of the two became substantial, and the aura of both began to collide. This is, the Golden Lion also said in surprise. Yeah, a conflict of domineering colors. The Red Earl looked at the conflict of domineering and domineering colors between the two, which had caused damage to the spaceship. Aren't you fighting against each other with weapons? Why are the overlords coming out? If this continues, the boat will fall into the water. Jin Shizi and others tried their best to persuade them. However, things have come to this point, and they don't care about that much anymore. Ling Fan's goal is to defeat Barrett. Ling Fan, I'm coming. Naturally, Barrett couldn't just attack Ling Fan with his domineering look, but rushed towards Ling Fan at an extremely fast speed. Ling Fan was waiting for work at ease, grabbed his shield, and stood in front of him. Boom! Barrett was as fast as the wind. In the process of rushing quickly, Barrett had already covered his arms with arms. Barrett's armor was quite powerful, his arms were black, and they hit Ling Fan's shield. Ling Fan was knocked back a few steps. Awesome, you can actually prevent my impact. Barrett praised, and then quickly combined his fists and kicks, forcing Ling Fan to take a step back again. Why, don't you plan to use armed colors? Then, I'm going to kill you in seconds. Barrett got the advantage, and immediately became proud, and his body aged faster. Ling Fan was only defending, and when he occasionally counterattacked, Barrett would detect it in advance with his knowledge and domineering aura, and then dodge it. I'm serious, don't you use armed color. Although Barrett suppressed Ling Fan, he also knew that Ling Fan still didn't use real power, so he urged. In that case, I'm not polite. Ling Fan just got used to and adapted to the US team's fighting style. Seeing that the US team was at a disadvantage, Ling Fan naturally used armed domineering. Armed and hardened. Ling Fan's arms had been extremely hardened. Ling Fan put his shield back behind him, and then took the initiative to attack Barrett. Boom, boom, boom. Ling Fan started to fight Barrett, because the armed color covered his arms, and the US team, who is a superhero himself, naturally increased his abilities in an all-round way. The fight between the two of them was very enjoyable. Their arms and fists collided with each other's arms and fists non-stop, back and forth. The surrounding pirates were stunned. Captain America knows all kinds of fighting skills. During the battle with Barrett, he was also quickly learning Barrett's fighting methods. Barrett was always able to avoid Ling Fan's attacks by using his knowledge and knowledge. The collision between the two arms and fists was the most frequent. If you continue like this, the warship will definitely be destroyed. Waldo also reminded. Who cares about that now? Barrett became more and more excited, and then turned on the devil mode. His whole body was covered with armed domineering, and Barrett, who had turned black all over, had shown his true strength. That's the case. I'm going to work harder. Ling Fan then also covered his whole body with his armed domineering aura, and then he also began to release his armed domineering aura. Immediately afterwards, the two rushed towards each other at an extremely terrifying speed. Everyone around was shocked. This is too exaggerated. It's the first time you learn the armed color, and you can use the armed color to this extent. I've never seen such a person as Master Ling Fan. He's too powerful. Is this your devil mode? Interesting. Come on. Barrett is now fully fired. At this time, Ling Fan not only completely covered his body, but also covered the Captain America shield in his hand with the armed color. Now Ling Fan is like a humanoid tank, hedging against Barrett. This time, it is not Ling Fan who is knocked back, but Barrett. Boom! Ling Fan used his strength to the extreme, and Barrett was knocked back by Ling Fan. It's so strong, but it's more about using my strength. Barrett is also analyzing in his heart. With the current US team, the strength beyond the human body is still no match for Barrett. This is the world of pirates, and Captain America, the spiritual leader, seems not enough. Ling Fan then said, Barrett, don't blame me for bullying you. Fusion. Wolverine. Ling Fan yelled. His whole body was covered by the light of the divine plan, but the outside world only passed for a moment. After the light passed, Ling Fan's body surface did not change, but he had actually merged with Wolverine. The combined strength of Captain America and Wolverine is significantly greater. Originally, they only had the upper hand slightly, but now they have the upper hand completely. Ling Fan, who turned on the devil mode, is more like a human weapon this time. Even if he doesn't use a shield, he can directly knock Barrett into the air just by relying on his own body. Barrett, do you have any other tricks? Now, you are no longer my opponent. Ling Fan said. That's not necessarily true. I'm having fun playing, Barrett said excitedly. Cool, if that's the case, I'll make you feel good enough. Ling Fan stretched out his hands, and Edmund's metal claws stretched out from Ling Fan's arms. The extremely sharp Edelman metal claws, coupled with the domineering armed color of the pirate world. It seems that you want to end this competition. Barrett also showed a playful smile. That's right, after fighting for so long, it's time for a perfect ending. Ling Fan looked at Barrett and said, in this case, let's use the strongest move again. I know that you can stretch out strange claws from your hands. Those claws are extremely sharp. Now with the armed color domineering, you will definitely be invincible. But, I just refuse to admit defeat. I want to fight you seriously again. Ling Fan. Ling Fan, you don't know. You have the domineering power beyond Roger. The ambition in your heart is bigger than anyone else. Don't think I don't know. But if you can't even conquer me, how can you conquer the whole world? So, show your claws. The strongest fist. Barrett gathered his arrogance, and finally his hands became darker again. Ling Fan has already strengthened his heart, and covered his claws with armed colors. The two just bumped into each other. With a voice of, "Who?" Ling Fan had already come behind Barrett. Now, I am qualified to conquer the world, right? Ling Fan asked, then retracted the claws on his hand, and completely faded the color of the armament. Ha 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 ha. From now on, I won't call you Zero Fan anymore. I will definitely beat you in the future. Captain, Barrett said with a smile. Immediately after hearing a crash, the armed color on Barrett's body completely disappeared. In the end, the wound on Barrett's body suddenly spurted out blood like a spring. Boom! Barrett's body finally fell on the warship and passed out. Immediately afterwards, Ling Fan saw everyone's awe-inspiring eyes. Knowing that the iron must be struck while it is hot, Ling Fan immediately began to speak to all the pirates. Barrett has challenged me more than once. And I have defeated him more than once. Our organization is called the Avengers. We can challenge our own family members, but we will never fight among ourselves at critical moments. Otherwise, no matter who it is, I will kill it. Have you heard that? At this time, Ling Fan's power was like falling from the sky, and the pirates naturally agreed. I know, some of you are famous legendary pirates, and some of you are mediocre little shrimps, but it's not a problem here. I'm very fair, adhering to the idea that the virtuous live. Next, I will make some adjustments to our organization. Ling Fan intends to take this opportunity to clarify the status of the organization. First of all, although we are the Avengers, but we are also pirates. Our goal is Ralph Drew, there is no doubt about it. Ling Fan then said. In the future, our pirate group will be called the Avenger Pirates, and I will be the captain. Do you have any opinions? Ling Fan asked, and everyone naturally had no opinion, even the Golden Lion and the Red Earl expressed no opinion. Immediately afterwards, Ling Fan announced his subordinate position, which was similar to that of the Deputy Emperor. Golden Lion Shiji, you are very skilled, and you are loyal to me now. I will make you the captain of the second team. Red Earl Redfield, you are also a former legendary pirate. Although you are lonely, don't you want to take risks on the sea with me? I'll let you be the captain of Team 3. The successor to the power of ghosts, Barrett, is now in a coma, but I will make him the captain of the 4th Squad. Bundy Waldo, I will make you the captain of the 5th Division. After Ling Fan finished the captain, everyone asked in unison, then Captain Ling Fan, who is the captain of the first team? The captain of the first team is me. In addition to being the general captain, I also serve as the captain of the first team. Ling Fan then added, next, I will divide you into each team according to your situation. The strongest among you will become the vice captain of the team. If anyone thinks they can challenge their own captain, they can challenge as much as they want. You succeeded. You will be the captain. Of course, the challenge can only be one-on-one, and it must be witnessed by everyone. In addition, I can also challenge. If you feel that your strength surpasses mine, you can send me a duel request at any time. Ling Fan told his pirates about his ideas, and the pirates felt very excited. Some pirates thought they were strong, but they never had a suitable platform. Now Ling Fan not only blessed them, but also gave them the opportunity to continue to advance. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Who on Buffett's side can treat him, and help him deal with it? Ling Fan couldn't let his captain of the 4th team bleed dry. Master Ling Fan, how should we call you? Is it the leader of the alliance? Or the captain? Or the captain? Leader of the alliance. This title is too ugly. What's the situation? Anything else is fine. Ling Fan immediately made a simple organization of the team, so it seems that the 5 teams are quite neat. The spaceship was still on its way to the West Sea, and Ling Fan took advantage of this time to let the pirates under his command have a full meal, and then ordered them to start a duel in their respective teams. This kind of duel is not a duel of life and death, but it can determine the status of everyone. The first is the vice captain, the second is the third, and so on. People with different status will be rewarded with Bailey by Ling Fan. This approach has greatly mobilized the enthusiasm of everyone, and now, the Ling Fan team's own subordinates have a detailed understanding. Well, Master Ling Fan, you put me in your camp, this is. The second thing is to teach me all your abilities. This is the third thing. Become my subordinate and work for me until I grow up. How about it? It's time for you to become the Pirate King. The Red Earl put away his evil smile, but what he cast was a kind of trust. I can hear everyone's inner voice, but you are the only one who not only has great ambitions, but also has a very sharp mind and a boldness above all else. These are things that no one else has. You made me realize again, the word loneliness, compared with me, you are more lonely. You who are lonely, it's really interesting to meet me who is lonely. I will help you become the Pirate King. The Red Earl also said sincerely. Ha, Red Earl, you can be regarded as understanding Mr. Ling Fan. I have already been convinced by him. The Golden Lion also laughed out loud afterwards. Everyone has become a lot more acquainted, and the atmosphere among the teams has become better. In the remaining few days, Ling Fan took the opportunity to quickly learn the sword skills of the Red Earl and the Golden Lion. At this time, news came from the Divine Plan. Can I transform again? When did I complete the big event? Ling Fan expressed his doubts. Ling Fan was very puzzled and started talking to the Divine Plan. Hello host, you have another chance to randomly select characters, said the transformation system. I want to know, don't I have the chance to draw characters after completing a big event? Ling Fan expressed quite doubts. Yes, can it be said that the 2 admirals of the Navy plus the 2 admirals of the future Navy, dozens of warships and tens of thousands of soldiers were all defeated by you? Isn't it a big event that shocked the sea? Furthermore, you forced the 5 old stars to finally make unprecedented concessions, and you will have a place in the sea, and the organization you founded will also stand out in the sea. These are enough to be regarded as big events. After the Divine Plan said so, Ling Fan suddenly became enlightened. The more chances of this kind of transformation, the better. Come on, let me draw again, Ling Fan said impatiently. Next, there are 4 heroes for you to randomly select. Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Scarlet Witch, Deadpool, Thor. Ling Fan was shocked, and immediately asked, System, are you serious? Scarlet Witch. This is a very powerful existence in Marvel movies. Even Thanos has been crushed by her. Deadpool. Almost immortal, but I just don't know if it's the Deadpool in the comics or the Deadpool in the movie. Thor. God of Thunder. That's a god. Of course, I don't know if it's the Thor's hammer version or the Storm Tomahawk version. Spider-Man, your good neighbor, possesses Peter, super reflexes, and all abilities are far beyond ordinary people. Possesses a spider web launcher and can spin silk. A hero of justice. Ling Fan wants every hero, so he said, system. Let's draw randomly. Anyway, it is randomly drawn, and anyone can be drawn from these four. Your mentality is really good. The system was silent for a while, and then said, congratulations. You have drawn Deadpool. It's still the same. I hope you can transform into Deadpool alone, so that you can experience his power. Don't you still have the Red Earl and Golden Lion in front of you? You can compete with them and transform into Deadpool, said the divine plan. Ling Fan nodded, and then said, start the super transformation form. Change Deadpool. Then there were still the 5 groups of lights, but unlike before, the color of these 5 groups of lights became red. This time the transformation was very fast, the red light flashed, and Ling Fan's body completed the transformation directly. Wearing a red jumpsuit made of leather, only the eyes are exposed, but the eyes are indeed white. In addition, there are 2 more knives on Ling Fan's back, which just form the cross shape of X. After the transformation, both the Red Earl and the Golden Lion were shocked and asked, who are you? Could it be Master Ling Fan's transformation? The 2 asked. Well, yes, I am Ling Fan. Ling Fan has become a Deadpool at this time. Well, I want to trouble you 2 with one thing. Ling Fan said. Ah, the Red Earl and the Golden Lion suddenly had a bad premonition, and asked, what's the matter? Master Ling Fan, do you need to learn to be domineering again? Ling Fan shook his head and said, this time I don't want to learn to be domineering. Have you seen the character I transformed into? I have 2 swords. I want to learn swordsmanship with the 2 of you. Because the knives and swords in One Piece world are the same, it doesn't matter what the swords and knives are called. So that's it, I want to learn swordsmanship. The Red Earl and the Golden Lion looked at each other, then nodded. As far as swordsmanship is concerned, there is no reason for them to lose to Ling Fan. After all, no matter how strong Ling Fan is, in other aspects, swordsmanship cannot be achieved overnight. If you are eager for success, you will not be able to understand the true meaning of swordsmanship. No problem, since Master Ling Fan wants to experience the charm of swordsmanship in actual combat, the 2 of us are naturally very happy. The Red Earl held his Baroque umbrella and used the umbrella as a sword. The Golden Lion took out his 2 famous knives, Sakura Ten, and Dead Wood, and was ready to go to war. As a dead waiter, Ling Fan also pulled out his own gun. Yes, I don't know why Ling Fan pulled out his own pistol instead of a knife. What is this? A pistol? Don't you want to fight swordsmanship? The Golden Lion and the Red Earl were also taken aback. I don't know either, just leave it alone, let's go to war. Ling Fan fired in confusion, and Ling Fan's bullets were very accurate, but this is the world of pirates. The speed of the Golden Lion and the Red Earl was far beyond that of ordinary people. They each swung their swords and chopped the bullet of Ling Fan's pistol into 2 pieces. Amazing. Awesome. As expected of a master of swordsmanship, this time I can't take it wrong. Ling Fan pulled out his knife from behind. Deadpool's knife is a carbon sodium steel knife, and the main component is carbona alloy. This alloy is actually an imitation of Edelman alloy. Although it is not as hard as Edelman alloy, it has good ductility, and this alloy has the characteristics of a self-healing factor for damage. Deadpool once defeated Wolverine with this knife. You can see the power of this knife. Ling Fan has a feeling that in the future against Kaido, using this knife should have quite good results. After all, that guy also has a super powerful body and can turn into a dragon, so he must have a strong self-healing ability. So that's it, the metal is very fine workmanship. The Red Earl and the Golden Lion are both masters of swordsmanship. Looking at it from a distance, they know that the knife in Ling Fan's hand is not ordinary. I can't recognize it, and I don't know if it's the Supreme Sword or the Great Sword. Golden Lion guessed. Ling Fan laughed and complained. I'm not some great sword, he is. You don't know, don't waste time, we still have to fight. After all, the author of this book will go out soon. Author, what are you talking about? Both the Golden Lion and the Red Earl didn't understand, but Ling Fan didn't know what he was talking about either. He seemed to be able to see a boy frantically typing on the keyboard in front of a screen, and then he appeared in front of others. No, I'm in the world of comics. No, I should be in the world of fan fiction, right? No wonder I feel a handsome boy typing on the keyboard. It seems that I have transformed into Deadpool, and I know like him that I am in another world. System, is there any way to rescue me? Ling Fan asked. Get stronger. As long as you are so strong that this plane can't stop you, you can break the barrier of the plane and go to other worlds, said the divine plan. In addition, I hope you don't forget that the reason why you have the function of transforming is because the author gave you a hook. Don't forget that you are already a character in this world. Divine Plan said. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.